If you have a paintbrush that you left out by mistake, notorious for this, and it got hard and crusty, I'm going to show you how you can bring it back to life and you don't need to throw it out. Get a piece of cling wrap or saran wrap, lay it down nice and flat, put your paintbrush in it, and then get some hand sanitizer. We all have hand sanitizer laying around now, and we're going to pour some right into the bristles of that paintbrush. Then wrap it up really firmly, mushing that hand sanitizer into that paintbrush, and set it aside and let it sit for a few hours. Now once it's sat for a few hours, we're going to clean it up. I like to use a comb and just comb through that paintbrush. It's going to get out all of those little bits and pieces that hand sanitizer has melted and cleaned away. And you'll be surprised how well this works. I take it down, I'm going to clean it up with some hot soapy water. Also back to being a usable, perfect paintbrush. Want an easy way to get pesky labels off glass jars and bottles? Just get your hairdryer, put it on the highest setting, just warm up that sticker so the glues get a little bit hot, and your label will peel right off nice and easy and leave no residue. It's that easy.
Sorry
And
guys,
if you have some hard glue residue left on your glass jar, get that hand sanitizer out again, put a little bit right into that glue, and rub it in, let it sit for a few minutes, and keep scraping at it, and you'll see that glue residue will rub right off, and it'll be left nice and clean. If it's being a little bit stubborn, I like to take the edge of an old pair of scissors and just rub it. Look how clean this is. It took all that residue off with a little bit of hand sanitizer. Okay, this DIY hack is just like magic. If you bought a book at the thrift store and somebody has highlighted all of the pages, take a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice, rub it into that highlighter. It's disappeared. It's gone. Let the page dry. Now you can craft with it.
Sorry, just
now,
fixing
I'm
all
sure
the
everybody
settings.
has always made this mistake. They've taken their permanent marker and they've written on their dry erase board by mistake. I'm going to show you how to fix it. You're going to now take your dry erase marker and you're going to go right over top of that permanent marker that you put on your dry erase board. Cover that whole word, and then you're just going to take a cloth, and just like magic, it's going to wipe everything away. That permanent marker is gone, and all you've done is rub that dry erase marker on top. Magic. I love this DIY hack. It is such a time saver for painting beads. Get a glass container or a plastic container, put your beads in it, and then I like to use just a little bit of acrylic paint. Now this one's almost empty. I'm going to water it down with a little bit of warm water. You want it a little bit thinner when you're trying to do this. We're going to whitewash these beads super fast. And you're just going to put a little bit of that paint into those beads. This one's kind of clumped up a little bit on me because it's really getting old. Pour a little bit more in. And then we're going to put the lid on the glass jar, give it a shake, and it's going to cover all of those beads super quick, super fast, and give them a whitewash look. I'm going to dump them out on a piece of paper towel and try not to have them all roll away on me, and then rub off all that extra paint. We don't need very much on it when we're trying to get a whitewash look. And it works perfect, and it's so fast, and you don't have to take that fussy paintbrush and try to paint each bead individually. And of course, you can do all kinds of different colors. The possibilities are endless with this technique. And how beautiful are these beads? Super fast way to paint them. I have a love-hate relationship with E6000. Love the product,
it's toxic.
hate the way that it's put together in this tube. So hard when you get near the end to get all of that glue out. What I do, I cut the end off of it, and then you can squeeze from the top to the bottom, and you're going to get every last little bit of glue out, because it can be pricey, that you can use on your DIY projects. Squeeze it out the bottom, put it on your project, and then I like to put it in a little baggie. Make sure you get all of the air out of the baggie, squeeze it out really well, zip it up, tuck it away until you're ready to use it for the next time. You know all the tubes that we get with vinyl on them, gift wrap, or even paper towel rolls or toilet paper rolls. I like to cut little sections off them and wrap my cords in them. It keeps them nice and neat and tidy, and I have lots in my craft room, from my hot glue gun to my Cricut iron to my computer, and it keeps it neat and tidy. Got a thread and needle that you're fiddling around with? Get out some nail polish and put the nail polish on the end of the thread. And when you go to put it through the needle, it stiffens it up and it goes through a lot easier. This is a really great hack to try, and it will make your sewing life a lot easier. Need a paint palette to do some crafting? Save those lids. This makes a really great palette to put your acrylic paint in, and when you're all done, you can just wash them out and reuse them again. So you don't have to go to the dollar store and buy all kinds of new palettes. You can also use lids from glass jars or the plastic lids from coffee canisters. So always be a little bit mindful before you go and buy something new at the dollar store if you have something that you can just upcycle and use for that same purpose. And also, if I still have some paint left in it, I throw it in a little zippy bag, and it's good to use after. Next hack, if you want to make some really small dots on your painting project, grab a toothpick, dip it in your paint, and it'll make a little tiny dot. And just look through your craft room, and I'm sure you have all kinds of things that you can use to make small circles, like the end of a paintbrush or the end of a stamp. Just get creative, and you'll see how you can take your crafting game to the next level and make it look more professional with nice, neat circles. And you're not trying to do it by hand. Back to these paper tubes again, and I love to turn them into little gift boxes. Cut off the desired length that you need for the little gift that you're going to give to somebody. I like to make them pretty, so I'm going to cover mine in some scrapbooking paper. Cut your length of scrapbooking paper to the size of the tube, and then we're going to use our glue stick and glue that paper onto the tube. Trim it around the edges so it's nice and neat. And then you're just going to bend in the ends on either side so they're evenly spaced along the middle, and make sure you're bending it in on the top the same way that you bend it on the bottom. And once you're all done, you have a cute little tube that you can put a little gift in. You can add some ribbon or embellishments, and we've used up some of that paper too and saved it out of the recycling bin. You have stencils and they're kind of rolling around in your drawers or a folder, and you want to keep them all neat and tidy, just grab one of these paper clamps. Make sure they're all together, clamp it on. Great crafting hacks to keep your stencils all organized. Want to keep your ruler from floating around on paper or on fabric when you're trying to cut it? Put a little elastic band on the top of your roller, and then when you put it on your fabric or your piece of paper, it's not going to slide around anymore, and you can make a really nice straight cut and not worry about it getting across your fabric or your paper. Do you want to cut your clay? Really easy. I've got this clay that I picked up at the dollar store, and it's brand new. It's nice and fresh. And I'm going to show you
when that
how you
hole
can
gets
cut
bigger
a
and
piece off
bigger.
of it really easy with some dental floss. Take a length and just press it into that clay, and it's going to go right through the clay and cut that piece of clay off that you need for your DIY. And it's nice and clean, straight edge, and you can get exactly what you need off your block of air dry clay. This is a really simple DIY hack, but sometimes it's nice just to have a reminder to make your own DIY confetti. Don't go to the dollar store and buy some, because I'm sure you have all kinds of scrap paper around that you can get out your hole punch and punch all kinds of confetti if you want to add it into any of your DIY projects. And they're going to be all kinds of assorted colors, and they're going to be so pretty, and we're going to save some money. I am always making a mess in my craft room, and I'm going to show you how I clean up those messes. I always have these socks that appear that the other one is missing. So I keep them all in a little bin, and I use them to clean my table in my craft room. I spray my cleaner on, put the sock on my hand, and you can really scrub at the
I'm
table.
still
And
here,
the nice
guys.
thing
Sorry
about
about
this
that.
hack
I'm
is
trying to
when
work.
you're all
Anybody,
done,
by
you
the
can
way,
take it
I'm
off
sorry.
and throw it in the washing
Everything
machine
that I
and use it
make
again.
is for Hope
Another
for New
little
York.
hack that
Is
I
going
like
to
to do
be
is I just have a little
donated.
credit card or a card that I store in my craft room dresser, and it's really great for
I'm
scrapping
just
off little bits of paint and glue. And I'm sure most of us already know this, but it's always great again to have a little reminder of little hacks that we can do to help us along in our craft room. I'll just scrape away with a little scraper and the sock and the cleaner, and before you know it, my craft table is perfect and ready to go again. Next time you buy something, don't throw those tags in the garbage. I'm going to show you how you can upcycle them, and this is a really great DIY hack. This is a tag that I got off a piece of clothing that I bought. It already even had a piece of string on it, and we're going to turn this into a little tag that's going to be perfect to add to any type of gift, birthday gift, anniversary gift. I've got some packing tape, and I'm going to put the packing tape on top of that tag. We're going to press it down really well with the card, getting all the bubbles and wrinkles out, and then we're going to peel away that packing tape. And as we are, it's going to take away that lettering that's on that tag and give us a blank tag that we can create into something new. So next time you're out shopping, you're going to be looking at the tags and see how many beautiful shapes and sizes that you're going to get on some of your items, and you're going to want to upcycle them. I like to get a nice piece of scrapbooking paper, and I put some glue stick on the other side of that tag, glue it down on that scrapbooking paper, and then you can trim it around with your scissors, and you can make all of the tags you ever need ever again by so many different ways. You can add scrapbooking paper, you can add just a plain piece of paper, and you can do some alcohol ink, you can do some watercolor, you can use gift wrap paper, so many ideas. And I just punch a hole in the top, making it a little bit bigger. We're going to go back to that string that was already on the tag. We're going to reuse it, and this is ready to be put on a gift. Another DIY hack is when you're at the thrift store, head to the crafting section, because I found a whole bag of these decorative scissors for $4.99. I think there was 12 pair of decorative scissors, all with different edges, and I can add these into my craft room for a fraction of the price. So, and you might even find things there that they don't even make anymore that are original, and you can save some money. But these scissors were a fantastic find. I use them all the time in my junk journaling, and I didn't have to spend a whole bunch of money. If you want to cut a piece of fabric in a certain shape, but it's really hard to hang on to the fabric and then cut it out of that shape, put some packing tape on the fabric and trim off around the edges. And I've got this rectangle, which is actually a little clothing tag, but that's the size that I want my fabric to be. And just trim around the edges, and the packing tape is going to keep that fabric stiffer and easier to cut around, and you're going to get a nice crisp edge. And then once you have it cut, you can just peel away that packing tape, and you've got your piece of fabric exactly the size that you want. This one frayed a little bit. I'm just going to take off the little edges, and we have a perfect rectangle that was much easier to cut with that packing tape on it. If you have a knot that you don't want to budge, tie the knot, pull it really tight, and then my little hack is to take some fabric glue. This stuff is fantastic, and that knot is not going to budge. I just put a little bit on the knot, I squish it in, it dries clear, and that knot is not going anywhere. If you don't have any fabric glue, you can also just use some school glue. It's maybe not quite as strong, but it works pretty good too for keeping your knots in place.
As best as you can.
Another crafting hack is don't run to the dollar store to buy all kinds of bins to organize your craft supplies. You can find everything that you need in your recycling bin. I save my glass jars, my tin cans, and they all come in handy for organizing all of my craft supplies. Got a crafting project and you don't want it to roll around on your table? Get a lint roller. It's sticky, it's going to hold your jar or whatever you're working on in place, and it's not going to roll around.
I went
Next
4 out.
hack.
You always go
If you got
4 out
glitter
because
all over your table and you want to clean it up, again, get that lint roller, roll it into the glitter, it cleans it all up, and you won't have a mess, and it's not all over the place. You can also use some packing tape, and it's really great for picking up glitter, also if you don't have a lint roller. And what I like to do after I've picked up all of my glitter, I don't
If I
throw
make
this
it
in the
to 10
garbage.
viewers
I
at one time,
incorporate it
I'll change
into
colors
my
again.
junk journaling or my mixed media projects because we now have a beautiful piece of tape that's covered in glitter, and it's going to look beautiful on one of our pages. Also save that sheet from the lint roller because it's beautiful too, all covered in glitter. Add it to your crafting projects. Got a DIY that you have to glue together and you don't want it to move around? Add your glue and then get out those paper clamps again, especially if it's a small item. And you can just clamp it in place, set it aside, let it dry, and it's not going to move around at all. Need to make a straight line with some glue? Just get your ruler out and you've got a guide to make a nice straight line with your glue. This is really easy and you can just wipe off your ruler with a little tissue afterwards, but you have nice straight lines of glue that you can add to your DIY projects. Thanks for watching. Let me know which one's your favorite app. I've done videos on all of these techniques, and I'll put a link down in the description for all of these recipes. So after you've watched this video, you've chosen which one you'd like to try, you can go back, you can watch that video and have a complete in-depth tutorial. The first one I'm going to do is my homemade chalk paint. I love this recipe. It's just a basic chalk paint recipe, and it works great on all projects, no prep needed, and I'm just going to coat this piece of wood.
12? Okay,
And then we'll have that
Should I
to
change
compare
color now,
with the
or
other
should I wait
texture
till
paints when
13?
we put them all together. So this is just the regular chalk paint, and I'm doing it all in white because I think that will give us the best idea of what it looks like for texture when it's all dry, and will show the best on camera. The next one that we're going to do is the coffee grind paint. I love this. This is actually one of my favorite ones, and you just save your coffee grinds out of your coffee machine. Let them dry really well, and then you can mix this recipe together. And it kind of has like almost like a stucco look to it.
Hello guys,
And
thank you
I
for
love
being
doing
here.
it on
This is as
vases and
many
ceramic
viewers I've ever had
pieces
at one
that I
time.
have thrifted. And
Nice.
this is what the coffee grind paint looks
You guys
like.
looking at the shadow, right? Looking at the hand.
Has a really
Tommy got
beautiful
me back
texture
too.
to it. And we'll just set this aside and let it dry. Sawdust paint. I love this one too. You save all your sawdust for your projects. Make sure it's really dry. Mix up this recipe, and it creates an amazing texture too. And this is what the sawdust looks like wet. The next one is a salt and pepper paint. I was kind of skeptical the first time I tried this and wasn't sure how well it would work, and it turned out fantastic on the project that I did with the salt and pepper paint. So now I'll show you what it paints up like. This recipe thickens up really fast. So you want to mix it and then use it right away, and only mix up what you're going to use for that specific project because it doesn't store very well, and like I said, it thickens really fast. So if you're using it and it does start to thicken, add a little bit of water, just to thin it out, and then keep painting. And now we're going to do the sand paint. This is another one of my favorites. Actually, I love all of these techniques. You kind of just have to pick what you would like to use for the type of project that you have. Maybe just give every one of them a try on your different projects, and then pick out your favorite. Now the last one is just your basic baking soda paint. And I'm actually kind of leaning towards using this formula more lately than my chalk paint. I just kind of like the texture of it better on my signs, and I find it standing up just as well as my homemade chalk paint recipe. Okay, these have all dried, and I'm going to put a second coat on all of these pieces of wood to give a true representation of what they look like when they're finished. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then I'll show you the end result. Okay, the salt and pepper one, after you put on the second coat, I always like to sprinkle a little bit of the pepper on top, and that just kind of gives it that stone look.
I was about to change colors again.
All over.
Watch how awesome this is gonna look.
Try not to sneeze. And then just take the paintbrush and just stab it in. It makes a really awesome texture, and there we go. Perfect. Okay, now I'm just going to let them all dry, and I'll be back and show you the end results. Okay, I have them all done, and there's a little bit of difference in between the textured paints that makes it a little bit more original. The chalk paint and the baking soda paint, I don't see a whole lot of difference between it. Maybe the baking soda paint has a little tiny bit more of a fluffy texture to it. The salt and pepper paint, I love that little fleck of black from the pepper that it gives. And the coffee grind paint, and the sawdust paint, and the sand paint, all three of those are kind of similar, but they do have a little bit of a difference in texture. So it's just kind of maybe whatever you have on hand, if you have sand, or you have sawdust, or you have coffee grinds, just to make that type of a texture paint. And here's a little bit more of a close-up. You can see the sand paint, the sawdust paint, and the coffee grind paint. And here's an up close of the salt and pepper paint. I love using all four of these techniques on glass bottles and vases, and it gives it that real rustic kind of cement or stucco look. And it's just fun to kind of experiment and try them all out. So like I said before, I'm going to, down in the description, have a link to the videos of each specific painting technique, and you can check those out.
These are done.
Because today I've got 18 unique ways to upcycle your old tin cans into something amazing. I'm going to show you how you can upcycle them into beautiful and practical DIYs. These ideas are perfect for any crafter at any skill level, and it's not much work. Let's get started. There are so many ways to upcycle tin cans, and since we have so many on our recycling bins, I'm going to grab a few of them and I'm going to get creative. When you're working with tin cans, it's recommended to paint them with either acrylic paint or chalk paint. Latex paint tends to peel and chip easy, so it's best to avoid using it. For our first project, I've taken some paper towel, cut them into strips, and then applying a layer of Mod Podge to the tin can and gently layering that paper towel strip on top of that. After that, I'm adding another layer of Mod Podge of the paper towel strips. This process is going to help create a texture and durable surface on the tin can that can be painted and decorated afterwards to suit any style. Next up, I've prepared a batch of textured paste, and I have a full tutorial on how to make it, which I'll link down below in the description. Using the texture paste, I'm applying a generous layer all over the tin can, covering it completely. After covering the tin can with textured paste, I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush and make swirls on it for a decorative touch. Once the entire can is covered, I'm going to let it dry completely, and this is going to create a sturdy surface that we can paint later on. I can't wait for this one to dry because it's going to be really unique and one of a kind. For the next tin can, I'm using my air dry clay. I'm going to roll it out onto a flat surface until it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. Then I'm going to use a ruler to cut the clay into strips and squares, giving them the appearance of bricks. To add texture to the clay, I'm going to place a doily on top of it and use a rolling pin to gently roll over it. This is going to create a lovely texture on those clay squares. The air dry clay with the textured effect resembles bricks when it's finished, and it's important to not roll too hard to keep the square shape and the clay intact. While the air dry clay is still wet, I'm going to apply a small amount of hot glue to the back of each clay square and then evenly space them out onto the surface of the tin can. This is going to create an illusion of a brick wall once the project is complete.
Me this myself. This man or sir. Back to me.
To have the metal rim at the top of the bottom, I'm just going to add some air dried clay around those areas, and then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry completely. For the next tin can, I prepared a batch of my homemade Mod Podge. You can check out that tutorial. The link will be down below in the description. Using paper towel, I've crumbled it up into strips to create a wrinkly texture, and then I'm applying it to the tin can, overlapping it and creating lots of texture. You can also do this technique using napkins or any other type of paper. The possibilities are endless.
Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Is my singing?
Now that my tin cans are completely dry, it's time to add some paint. To ensure that they all have an even base, I'm taking them outside and I'm going to give them a coat of my white spray paint. This is just going to give it a uniform look, and you won't see that metal in the inside of the can. Now it's time to paint them. For the brick one, I'm using a terracotta colored paint. For the swirled one, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this one. I'm just going to start layering up different colors and see what inspires me. I've got some brown, I've got some black, I've got some white, and now I'm going to go in with maybe a little bit of that terracotta. And once I had the terracotta on top of it, I thought maybe it would look really beautiful with some turquoise. I love this idea. And then I just added some twine around the top of it. For the textured paper towel one, I'm just painting with some of my white homemade chalk paint, and it's going to give it almost like that stucco look. And for the brick one, I'm just going in and I'm dry brushing just a little bit of white on the top of those bricks. I'm going to sand it a little bit so it gives it a distressed look. I love this one, but if I was to do it again, I would have put the squares closer together. Got some wooden beads, and I'm just adding them as feet on the bottom of these tin cans. Put in some faux plants. If you're going to put in a real plant, make sure you drill a few holes in the bottom. What a great way to upcycle some tin cans. Next tin can upcycle, these are a little bit bigger. These are coffee canisters, and I'm going to take out the bottom. When you're removing the tops or the bottoms out of tin cans, you want to make sure that you have a can opener that's going to smooth down the edges. This one works perfect. Now, you want to make sure that you are putting the seam at the back of your project. I'm fortunate, my husband has a vise out in his garage, so I can squish these together really well. If not, you can just use your hands and maybe a rubber mallet and work away at it.
Where'd you go? Come on, give me another thumbs up. I'll change the colors. If I see one more thumbs up, can I get?
Now that I have them all squished, I'm going to drill a hole in the top of each one, making sure that I'm drilling that hole where the seam is, because that's going to be the back.
Come on, give me a
Now I'm
thumbs
going
up.
to take them outside and I'm going to give them a coat of my spray primer. While I'm waiting for that primer to dry, I've got a piece of scrap pine and I'm painting it with some of my homemade
Give me a
stain.
thumbs up. I'll change the color.
I have a full tutorial. I'll link that down below in the description also. The primer is dry on my tin cans. Now I've sprayed it with primer because it's going to let the paint adhere better. Now I'm painting it with some of my homemade chalk paint, letting it dry, and now I'm going to add some transfers on it. If you're following along here for a while, you know I love my Mod Podge reverse graphic transfers. That's the technique that I'm going to do on these tin cans. Using my Mod Podge mat, I've printed these graphics off on my LaserJet printer, making sure to reverse the text, and then I'm applying it onto my project, getting all the bubbles and wrinkles out of it, and then setting it aside and letting it dry for 24 hours. It's been 24 hours, now I've dampened it with a little bit of water on a rag, and then I'm taking my fingers and rubbing away the paper, and as we do that, the graphics are going to be left on our project. We're going to seal it up with some polyacrylic sealer. We're now ready to mount these on that piece of pine. I'm centering them exactly where I want them, and then I'm going to screw them onto that piece of wood, fill them up with a little bit of moss, add some faux flowers, and I think this is a really beautiful way to upcycle tin cans, and it's really simple to put together. We're now ready to go on to our next tin can upcycle using some homemade Mod Podge. Again, we're back to the paper towel. I've ripped it into strips, putting it in the homemade Mod Podge and applying it all over that tin can and letting it be really textured.
One one more thumbs up, I'll change the color.
This is now completely dry, and
One
I'm
more
painting it
thumbs
with some
up.
white
15
chalk
people,
paint.
come on.
And I want to add a
One
base to
person.
it.
One
I
more
always save
thumbs
the
up.
lids from my
One
tin
more
cans
team.
also. So I've got 3 here. I'm stacking them up,
15.
gluing them
Wow.
together with my hot
Yay,
glue gun.
awesome.
So it's going to
Shadow
act like a
lid.
pedestal.
Shadow
And then
lid.
I'm going to paint it with some of my chalk paint.
You guys like it?
And
Great.
then
I
we're
love
going
it.
to
You
glue
guys
it
like it?
onto the
I
bottom
love
of this
it. You
tin
guys
can.
like it?
I just used some hot glue
guys like
here. You can also add a
love
little
it.
bit of E6000
Oh.
if you want it to be
No.
really secure and not
I
move.
didn't say
And
I
I've created a really
Jane
cute
Bauer.
little pencil
I'm not
and marker
saying
and scissor holder for my
I'm just
craft room,
animated. You
just
have
using
to
a
see
tin
that
can
yet.
and some glass lid jars. This one is really adorable. These are some tuna tin cans. I painted them with some black spray paint. I got a spindle from my stash, and I got some scrapbook paper. Now I want to decoupage with my scrapbooking paper, and you've probably seen me do this before. If you have really thick paper, you can use some packing tape, put it along the back of your scrapbooking paper, tear away that packing tape, and as you do, it's taking away a layer of that paper and making it thinner and easier to decoupage with. Once I have that all removed, I've cut the strips to fit around these tin cans using my Mod Podge. I'm decoupaging them
How's you
onto
doing
that.
today?
Now I've got my spindles, I've cut them to size using my
I
E6000. I'm gluing a portion of that spindle into each of these tin cans. And this is going to create a little tiered shelf that would look beautiful
Hope
in
you
a
don't get
primitive
bored.
function. This tin can upcycle is really
This
simple,
scarf
but it turns out really
donated
pretty.
to
I
Hope
spray
in New
painted
York.
my tin can with some
Last
white
week,
spray
actually,
paint, let it
gave up.
dry, and then I
But
got
he
out
did.
my dollar
It's
store
just
twine, and
playing
I'm just
around.
wrapping
That's
it
all I'm
around
doing.
the tin can.
Making
I
light.
want to add a pretty
You can
fringe to
enjoy
this, so I got out my macrame cord,
That's
and
what
I
you do
cut a
right
piece a little bit bigger
now.
than
See, this is
the
just,
top of the
just a
tin
string,
can,
right?
and then
And
just
now,
cut a whole bunch
it's
of
about to become a
pieces
scarf.
that were all the same length,
Gift
that
to
we can
somebody.
do a knot around that first piece of macrame cord, lark's
Don't let
head knot,
anybody stop you.
and we're going
Look,
to tie
now we're
those
gonna go
all
back
along that
to gray, so
first
it's gonna
piece of
make it look
macrame cord.
complete, like this, right? But if you notice over here, look at this. I love it. I love it.
Once I cut it down to size, I took my comb and I combed it out so it's nice and fluffy looking. And then we're just going to hot glue it around the top of that tin can.
That's not
This has a
perfection.
real boho feel to it, and I really like it. Now we're going to add those beads onto the bottom again with a little bit of hot glue. You can also add some E6000 if you want it to really stay put. And if you're really enjoying these tin can upcycles, I'd love for you to hit the like button. It really helps support my channel, and I appreciate all of your support. Okay, another tin can upcycle. I'm going to paint this with some white spray paint and then put on some white chalk paint on top of that. Add a graphic using my Mod Podge reverse graphic transfer method. This is set for 24 hours. I'm just rubbing off the paper.
Because I
You can
promise
seal
that's what
any
I
of
was
these
going to do
projects
if I
up
had
with some
enough thumbs up.
polyacrylic sealer also, and it just makes them
Or
a little
do
bit
you
more
want me to change it
durable,
now?
and you can dust them down if you need to.
If you leave me a
I'm going to
comment,
add a candle in the
I'll
middle
change
of
it right
this.
now. But
I
if
picked
not,
up
I'll
these
wait till I finish
wicks
the roll.
off of Amazon, and I'm just
And
melting
if I get
an
another
old
like,
candle that I had in my
I'll
stash
change it right now too.
and pouring it really gently into
You
that
the one
tin
that comes
can.
first.
We're
Hello,
going to trim
13
down the
folks.
wick when it's all completely set.
How are you
I
doing
love
today?
making these to set them
I hope
out
you
in the
just
summer
doing
on my
well this
patio or
evening.
on the deck.
I hope you had a
And
great
it's a really
day
great
at
way
work.
to use up
If that's
extra
what
bits
you're
of your
doing.
candles,
Or winding down
and
from work.
you can
If that's what
customize
you're
them.
doing. Or
This
getting
was a
ready for
big
work. If
spaghetti
that's what
pan
you're doing.
jar, and
Whatever
I'm
it
going to
is that
spray
you're
paint
doing.
it with
I
some
hope you
black
have a
spray
great day.
paint,
Or
so it's
evening. Or
easy to
night.
paint on top of.
Whatever
Now I've
time it
painted
is where
on my
you at right
white
now.
chalk paint on top of it. It's completely dry, and I'm just going to take the edge of my scissors and just make it look really rustic. I made my own custom napkin. I have a full tutorial on how to custom make your own napkins. I'll put the link below down in the description so you can check that out. And we're going to decoupage it onto this tin can. I like using the water transfer method when I'm using my homemade napkins. Put my napkin on a plastic sleeve, added some Mod Podge on my tin can, pick up that plastic sleeve, apply the napkin, and it's that easy to put a graphic on any of your DIY projects, especially on tin cans. Let's tin can project is this one that I've had on the shelf for a while. I love the patina of it. I'm not going to paint it, but I got it my Cricut, and I'm cutting some vinyl, and I'm going to add a graphic on it with some permanent vinyl, cleaning up that tin can with a little bit of alcohol before I apply it, wrapping some wire around a pencil to create a handle for the top of that tin can. I just use my drill, and I cut, and I drill holes in either side of that tin can, applying it, added some of my junk and crap and bits and pieces. I love this one.
Thirsty for your attention.
My head swirls sometimes with things that I save out in the recycling bin and what I can do with them. At some point, how many tin cans is too many tin cans to save? But as you can see by watching this video, there's so many ideas and so many different designs that you can do on tin cans and incorporate them or make them for gifts for family or friends, or you can also sell them. Some of these are some of my best sellers when I go to craft sales or craft fairs. This one, I just put some spray adhesive on a stencil, laid it on the tin can, used some of my acrylic paint to stencil on top of it, and create this beautiful design. I got a piece of a spindle, I used my E6000 to glue to the bottom, filled the tin can up with some sand, added some candles. Genius idea for the patio for the summer. Now I've got a big coffee canister. I took it outside, sprayed it with some black spray paint. Then I'm going over it with some of my white homemade chalk paint. I printed off this graphic on my LaserJet printer using the homemade napkin technique again, which works fantastic with this. It's better to use the homemade napkin technique with the tin cans because there's so many ribs in them, it's hard to rub off the paper. This works the best. Apply it to the tin can with a little bit of Mod Podge. I'm using my X-Acto knife to cut an X in the top of the lid.
I'm going to stand up right now
seal
just
this
to
up
show you
with some
color.
engine enamel because this is going to go in my bathroom and I
down
want it to
right
be
now.
durable
Cut.
and be able to wipe down. Add some of my garbage bags, pull it through that lid, and this is a really great way to keep all your bags in one place and it looks pretty.
Next color, option number 1.
Now this is a different variation of the tin can that I just made with the junk and crap graphic, except this one I smushed. I put in my vise, I pulled the bottom together, printed off just junk and crap, and adding it to that I'm going to call a smashed tin can, centering it, pressing it down really well. I'm going to add a wire hanger on the sides.
Is number
And this one
4.
is really cute to hang in the garden. You can fill it full of some annuals and it has drainage at the bottom.
And so far, I've even included a purple.
Shed, just with some little bits and pieces in it.
With
Another
base,
swooshed or
beautifully,
smashed
beautiful, beautiful seams, beautiful seamless, seamless, seamless. I have 10 people now.
I put 2 coats of the sand paint on and then sealed it up with some polyacrylic sealer. I made another fringe like what we've made in one of those other previous projects. And I'm just hot gluing it to the bottom of the tin can, adding a faux flower. Has a really nice boho vibe to it. Another smashed tin can and 1 ply of a beautiful floral napkin. We're going to decoupage this onto the tin can. I've painted the tin can with some of my white chalk paint. And then I'm going to add that napkin on top of it. If you use a darker color underneath your napkins, it's going to show through. So I always like to paint my projects with a lighter color and then decoupage on top of that. So I'm just basically taking this napkin, putting on that plastic sleeve, just like we do with our homemade napkins, and then applying it. It just gives it a nicer, smoother finish, and you're not going to have as many bubbles and wrinkles when you do this technique. And then you just peel away that plastic sleeve. You can take your fingers and you can smooth it out a little bit if you need to, or use a little bit of plastic wrap, and that will help smooth it out. I'm making sure I've got the edges sealed down really well. And then I'm going to take a 1-minute break. A little bit of Mod Podge,
if you don't
picking
leave
up
a
that
comment,
napkin,
tell me
applying
which
it,
color.
getting all the bubbles and wrinkles out of it, and then we're going to set it
I'm going to
aside
leave it here for
and
you
let
too.
it dry.
So you can see.
Once it's dry, you can go back in with a little piece of sandpaper and sand off any extra napkin that you have hanging off the edges. I had this fringe that I picked up at the thrift store. I love it. It looks great. This napkin, hot glued it, filled it with some craft supplies. I hope you're not getting tired of these upcycled tin cans because there's so many ideas that you can do with these. that I could keep going on for hours and hours, and even just
this
turning them
color.
into planters. There's so many ideas of ways you can
You can see
decorate
better.
them. My husband's a big coffee drinker. We have piles of coffee canisters.
I'll let you
So
decide.
I
I'll
save
be
as
back.
many as I can that I can upcycle. So I have 3 here that I'm going to do. I'm putting them in the vise and I'm squishing them down at the bottom. When you're squishing them, like I said before, make sure you have your seam at the back. Or when you're doing your project, it's going to look kind of funky because you're going to have the seam of the tin can not where it's supposed to be.
Why are you not picking? Pick a color. What color?
Now I'm going
Should
to
I
take
do
these
this
outside
color?
and spray them with
This
a
color?
thin primer. Now let's decoupage some fabric. This is an old tea towel. It had some holes and stains in it, but I'm going to use a portion of it to decoupage on one of these tin cans. Whenever I'm at the thrift store and if I see a piece of fabric that catches my eye, or a tea towel or a pillowcase, I always grab them. And even if they have a little rip or a tear in them, because you can cut them up and you can do a project like this. I'm just adding my Mod Podge onto the tin can and decoupaging on that tea towel. I just cut out a portion that I thought would look the best on that tin can. Once I have it exactly where I want it, I'm going in and I'm putting Mod Podge on top of it. I love the retro feel of this tea towel. I've drilled a hole in the back and I've got a piece of pine that I stained again with my homemade stain. I'm just screwing that tin can into it, filling it up with some moss, putting in some faux flowers. If you wanted to put this outside, you could put in some real flowers and hung it up, and it's just beautiful. And it's all these pieces are one of a kind because you're using unique items to create these upcycles. We already know this, but upcycling tin cans is so good for the environment because it reduces waste and saves resources. And by using cans with a new purpose, we can help keep them out of the landfills and reduce energy needed to make new things. So when you upcycle, you're not only being creative, you're also helping to protect the planet. So for this upcycle, I had a broken handle off of a shovel. I drilled 2 holes in the back of the tin can. We're going to attach that handle when this is all finished. Making a homemade napkin on my laser jet printer. I'm cutting out the napkin off of that piece of paper that we put through the printer, and we're going to apply it onto that tin can. Using a plastic sleeve, we're going to drizzle a little bit of water onto it, and then I like to, I'm not sure if I showed it in some of the other videos up close or not, but I'd like to take the edge of my scissors and just go around the edge of that napkin to create a ragged edge. It's when you put it on your project, it just helps it blend in better. Just be really careful. You don't want to rip or tear that napkin as you're removing that edge. We're going to apply that Mod Podge onto the tin can, pick up that plastic sleeve, and attach it on there. Now, it's nice doing this technique, like I said before, because you can get in all of those grooves. You don't have to worry about rubbing off paper if you're doing the reverse technique.
You didn't want to choose,
Works
but you gave me
really
a light,
well.
so that
Peel
means
off
I will
that
change the
plastic
color.
sleeve, let it dry completely,
And I chose.
and then you can seal it up with some polyacrylic
Pikachu, I
sealer.
chose
That saran wrap tip
green.
works fantastic for getting any wrinkles and bubbles out also. I'm always dragging home broken shovels, broken rakes, broken pitchforks for projects exactly like this. You can cut the broken pieces off and then reuse them in another project. Now I'm going to turn this one into a planter, but we don't want the dirt to completely fall out the bottom because there is a little bit of an opening after we've smashed them together. I like to put a couple coffee filters in the bottom. That's going to hold the dirt in there, but it's also going to let it drain. Added some spring flowers, and it's a perfect planter for outside of my garden for the spring season. This one's the same concept, different spin. Spray painting it with some of my turquoise blue spray paint. I've drilled some holes in the top. I cut this graphic out on my
Why do you want to make it triple knot?
and I'm just applying it, and then I'm going to seal it up with some polyacrylic sealer. Going to put some coffee liner in the bottom again, fill it up with dirt, add a handle with a little bit of wire, And it's another way or another design of using some tin cans or coffee canisters to create beautiful decor
I
for your
know, you guys
garden
are like wondering what's
or
going on.
any
Look,
season.
guys,
You
I just
can
tied
use
it.
a design like this
Okay.
and put a fall
Now,
theme, Christmas
we're
theme,
going
Easter
to
theme,
crochet
so many ideas.
to
I
give
hope
you
you
what
enjoyed this
it
tutorial and it's
means.
given you some inspiration to grab
No.
those tin cans out of your recycling bin and go crafting. I'd love to know down in the comments, what was your favorite tin can upcycle today? And I'd love for you to hit that like button if you really enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And if you love this video, I'm sure you're going to love either of these next two. Take care.
See, there's not, right?
I never throw gift
So
bags.
I
I always
messed that
save them after I
See that?
have been given a gift, or if
What can I do?
Christmas morning there's bags
I
all over
could
the place. I always
restart,
collect them all
reknot it again.
and repurpose them or re-gift to somebody else. Today I'm going to show you 10 ways that you
Because
can
I messed it
upcycle
up.
these Christmas bags into things
But I
that
don't
aren't
want that
Christmas
knot.
bags. There's something different.
And my
So
stitch
if your
is going
stash
to
is
show,
just
you
getting
know,
way too big
it's that
and you're trying
lumpy
to find
stitch.
different ways that you can
Everybody
use up
gets a
some of
lumpy
these
stitch.
Christmas bags,
So triple
I've got
knot
some
it again.
fantastic ideas. I've got this
Grab
wooden
a pair of
disc that I
scissors.
painted with some chalk paint, but I really loved this Santa on
Chop the
front of
old
this
guys
bag.
out the way.
So I'm going to cut it out a little bit bigger than that wooden disc. Now these bags are quite thick, so I'm going to show you how you can make them thinner and make them easier to decoupage with so your project will look better. Get out your packing tape and put the packing tape along the back of your image. Use your card to press down really well to get rid of any bubbles and wrinkles, and then take off that packing tape. And it's going to take off a layer of that paper on that gift bag and make it thinner and more easy to work with.
Give me a
Also
thumbs
see
up.
me do this technique on scrapbooking paper,
You
and
give me a
it
thumbs
just
up.
opens up your options of using all that pretty paper that you have in your
I
stash
started taking a
if you
sip
want
of
to
coffee.
decoupage it. If you were going to decoupage this when it's really thick, it would bubble and wrinkle really easy. So there we have our image of Santa, nice and thin. We're going to get out our Mod Podge mat. We're going to decoupage it to the front of this piece of wood. Now, don't put on too much Mod Podge. If you're putting on too much, it's going to bubble and wrinkle. You just need a light coat over the entire piece, and you want to make sure that you're getting it right out to the edges. And then we're just going to pick up our image, center it exactly where we want it, and then press out any bubbles or wrinkles. Don't run to the dollar store and buy brand new bags if you don't have a stash. You can go to the thrift store, and a lot of times I'll see a big bag full of gift bags, and you can repurpose those, and they're really affordable. I got on my brayer, and I'm just really pressing that in. Gonna let it dry completely, and then once it's dry, I've got a little piece of sandpaper, and I'm just gonna sand around the edges. It's gonna give a little bit of a rustic touch to it.
Oh my God!
And
You guys ever have
really
the evil eyes on you?
of Christmas decor with a scrap piece of wood and a Christmas bag. And how adorable is this? Next DIY that you can do with a Christmas bag is make your own card and envelope. I always save these little tags and the little strings. I'll use those on another Christmas project, so don't throw those out either. And I'm going to open this bag right up, cutting off the top and down the side and cutting off the bottom. Sometimes those bags get a little bit ratty after using them 3 or 4 times, so this is a great way to repurpose them, and you can cut off those bits that are wrapped. And
I just have it on the side though. That's why I had to give you guys this view.
I have a full tutorial on how to make DIY envelopes. I'll put the link to that down below in the description because it's really detailed. But what you want to do is you want to cut a piece of that gift bag in a square. As long as it's 10 by 10, 8 by 8, it doesn't matter. It just depends on how big you want your envelope to be. You can customize it. And I'm just going to cut it so it's a perfect square. And then we're going to start folding. If you don't have any Christmas bags, again, you can always use just a piece of Christmas scrapbooking paper to do this DIY. Now you're going to take those 2 corners and put them right in the middle. Press down that crease. You can also use a bone folder to make a nice, crisp line. Envelopes are so easy to make from any type of paper, and once you get the hang of it, you'll have so many you won't know what to do with them. And then you're going to bring the bottom up to the top. We're going to use a ruler. We're going to put a crease in it, and then we're going to fold it under. We're getting really close to having this envelope done. And these are so pretty to put together from leftover gift bags. Once we have them creased really well, we're going to now fold down that top flap of the envelope, and then we're going to fold it down, and then we're ready to glue it all together. That's
yes,
how
like
easy
when I
it
do
is to
this,
put an envelope together.
I know why, because it was
Now this is my favorite paper crafting
Look
glue.
how you
Link
make this
to
all
it
out
down
one
below
line.
in the
And I
description.
tell
We're
people
going to
that
put
all
a
the
little
time,
bit
because
on the inside of
people
that
are
flap
awesome
and
creators. Look
along
at
the
this.
edges of that envelope.
Create your own stuff. This is
Once
going
you
to be
have
a
that
scarf
on,
for
we're going
somebody
to fold that
that
flap
needs it.
down and fold up that other piece, and we basically have put an envelope together that quickly. Now we want to make a card for the inside. So I'm just going to measure the size of the envelope, and then we're going to double that so we can fold it over into a card, and it's going to fit into the envelope.
Santa baby, dooba 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 doo 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 dooba dooba doo doo. Santa baby,
Here's another really cute DIY that you can do using some
might
gift
be
bags.
singing.
This is a really
Okay,
cute
I'll
little
shut up.
one. I love
I'll
the
shut up.
reindeer
You
on
don't
it.
want me
We're
to
going
sing. I
to
see.
take the bag apart, taking out the
I see you
bottom,
don't
and we're
want me
going to
to
cut
sing.
out those two panels that have the reindeer on them. Once we have those cut out, we are going to make some bookmarks. These are really popular to put in a stocking or to add as a little gift tag on a gift. I'm using my glue stick. We're going to glue those two pieces together so we have the image on the front and the back. And then I'm going to measure how big I want my bookmark, and then I'm going to use my paper cutter. I'm going to be able to get two bookmarks out of this bag. Now I'm using the packing tape, and that's going to seal it up and give you a more durable bookmark. I'm going to put some on the front and the back, making sure that they're completely sealed. So when you're cutting your bookmarks, make sure they're a little bit tinier
One more
than the
thumbs
width
up,
of the
and
packing
I'll
tape.
switch the color.
Once I have that all done, we're going to trim around the edges and get rid of all of that extra tape that we don't need. We're going to get a paper punch, and we're going to punch a hole in the top, and then we're going to add a festive ribbon, or we can add some twine, however you want to finish it off. I've got this really pretty striped twine, and I'm going to add it to the top of the bookmarks. And this is a really great way to repurpose a gift bag and turn it into two beautiful bookmarks that somebody would love to get in their stocking. Another gift bag and another beautiful image. I love the Santa on this bag. We're going to cut it out, and we're going to turn this into a postcard. I'm going to use some of my junk journaling skills to put a postcard together that you can tuck into a Christmas gift, or you could even mail it if you wanted to.
Santa baby, tell everyone to sing me tonight. Sing do 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 do. Oh, do do do. Nobody wants me to sing. I sing, you guys disappear. Why every time I sing, you guys disappear? Let me put on my scrunchie voice.
And you can never have enough gift bags. I actually found this punch at a thrift store years ago. I use it so much. I make gift tags for everything with scrap paper that I had laying around. I'm just going to punch these out of a gift bag that I saved, put a hole in the top, run some twine through, you can write on the back. Fantastic gift tags. Another gift bag that I had that has the same image on the front and the back. We're going to deconstruct these all the ribbon out. We're going to save that for another project. You can even use these to use on the top of your tags that we just created in that other project. We're going to cut it out, and we're going to make placemats. Really fun DIY to do with kids if they want to have some placemats to do some Christmas crafts at the table, or just to set up your table and put your dinnerware on top of it, and it just adds that festive feel.
If
I'm going to
you
iron it a
give it
little
a
bit
thumbs
so
up,
they're nice and
I'll
flat.
change colors.
And then I'm going to get out my page protector. I always find this at the dollar store, and it's really great for projects like this because it's going to seal this up and allow it to be wiped down with a damp rag if you need to, if you're using it with food at your table. You're just going to cut that page protector just a little tiny bit bigger than that image that we cut out of the bag. And then once we have it cut out for the front and the back, we're going to peel away that page protector and then really carefully lay it on top of that piece of the bag that we cut out. You want to make sure you have it just overhanging just a little tiny bit so it makes a nice edge and smooth out any bubbles and wrinkles. Just take your time while you're peeling it off. And you can imagine the possibilities with so many gift bags that you can turn into beautiful placemats to add at your table at Christmas time. I love the pattern on this gift bag, and again, we're going to deconstruct it, take off the ribbons, and we're going to cut it open so it's one large bag. And then I'm going to take the bottom piece, that bottom piece of cardboard from the bottom of the bag, and I'm going to cut a triangle out of it. We're going to use that as a template. The fun thing with all of these projects is they can be used for any holiday. You have Easter bags, you can make one of these projects. You have birthday bags, you can make one of these projects. And that's what I love about being able to upcycle all of these and not get thrown out. There's so many different ways that we can use them. I've got these cut out, and we're going to take our triangle template and we're going to just cut out a whole bunch of triangles.
Look, look. Can you see it?
Once I have all those triangles cut out, we're going to hold them all together with a paper clamp, and then we're going to get our hole punch, and we're going to punch 2 holes in the top of each triangle. And we're going to do this to each triangle, and then we're going to string some twine through these, and we're going to turn these into a beautiful garland that you can hang over top of a door or on a mantle. So many possibilities, and you've got beautiful paper from a used gift bag that you can turn
I'll change the
this
color.
into.
I see you 10 guys and gals. Give it a like. I'll change the color. I see you 13 guys and gals. Give it a like. I'll change the color. I see you guys and gals. Give it a like. I'll change the colors. Lost a whole bunch here. Don't like my voice? What's wrong with my voice?
Another great way to upcycle some gift bags or repurpose it is just use it as gift wrap. I have this little box that's perfect for one of the panels from one of my gift bags, and I can just use some scotch tape. I can tape it up, and your gift is wrapped, and you were able to reuse a gift bag. Got lots of
If you give it a
brown
like, I'll
paper
change the
bags.
color.
They turn into beautiful snowflakes. Cut them open, make them into one flat panel. Get your template to make snowflakes, or just get creative with the kids and you can make them all different. But this is a great way to use up some of those gift bags, and you can string through the top, hang them from your tree, so many possibilities. But it's a great way to upcycle these brown paper bags, and you can also use the gift bags that have patterns on them too, and they'll turn into beautiful snowflakes. This is just a super simple way to upcycle those gift bags, but so easy. Just take your bag apart if you've got a picture on a bag that you really love, and deconstruct your bag, cut out that picture, put it in a frame. Beautiful way to make new Christmas decor from a Christmas bag that you've upcycled or repurposed and saved. I hope you found some inspiration here,
Change
and you got some
colors,
Christmas
got
bags
it.
that you
All
can
right,
turn
I'm
into
changing the
decor.
colors.
Thanks for watching. Have a
All
great
right,
day, and
first,
we'll see you in the next video. Let me know down in the
got
comments
guts.
which one was your favorite. Take care.
Then, what color should I do next? We'll see. Why not that blue we were discussing earlier? This guy here.
Hi, Deidre here from Our
Look at
Upcycled
that
Life.
blue.
Welcome to my channel. Today's video is all about crafting hacks. And here's a
Rarity.
lot of good crafting hacks. I got 12 of them. They're all lots of fun, useful, and something that you should incorporate in your
Our first
DIY
attempt,
projects
a
or your craft
rarity, a
room.
rarity,
So, we got lots of work.
indeed.
Let's get started, and I'm going to show you some crafting hacks. First craft hack. I actually just found out about this not that long ago. And I was like, what the heck? How did I not know about this? You pull off the end of your utility knife, and it helps you remove your blade. Very carefully, you slip it into that slot, pull it down to where you just have the one blade, and then pull it back. I'm trying to pull it forward, but you need to pull it back. Snaps right off easy. Be really careful. Take it out. I like to get a little piece of masking tape, put the blade in the masking tape, and then you can throw it away in the garbage, and you don't need to worry about it, and you snap those blades off so easy.
All right.
Next hack, save these
Come now.
Parmesan
Be
containers.
right back.
The actual lid pops right off. Clean it out really well with some hot soapy water. I like to cut the label off. It comes off really easy, peels right off. Put a little bit of water in the bottom.
Let you
It
guys
is a
go.
fantastic container to keep your paintbrushes in and clean them. The little slots in it and the circles hold your paintbrushes perfect.
Next one.
Next
The
hack,
next color.
you fiddle with your
You
tape
guys
to
gave
find
me
the
a
end.
plus.
Keep one of your
Thumbs up.
thread
So, there we
ties,
go.
put it at
Color.
the end of your tape. You'll never lose the end again. If you have a pair of scissors that are getting dull and they're really dirty and gummed up with tape and glue, I like to take a piece of sandpaper, either a 120 or a 220 grit, and really cut along the blade of the scissors. It will help sharpen
There you
it.
go.
And
Sorry,
you
I
can
had to
also
do
use
it
some
all over
tin
again.
foil.
Messed up.
Make some long cuts in it and keep doing it until you've cut up that whole piece of tin foil. Then I like to take some alcohol and really clean those blades. That will take off any of that gummy residue that you have left on your scissors or any tape that's left on it, and it rubs off really easy. It breaks up all those little glue particles. And then I like to get a little bit of oil, any type of oil. Put it right in the hinge of your scissors. Work it around, work it right through that hinge. Take a paper towel, clean it up, and when you have completely cleaned up your pair of scissors, they're going to be nice and sharp and ready to craft with again.
That's right. the bipolar knit. Who needs bipolar knit?
Next DIY
Oh my
hack
God,
is
what
you
is
can
she
make
doing
your
there?
own wood filler to fill in holes on your projects. You don't have to
Despite the
buy
hate,
any.
you
You
must be
can just
great.
get some
Despite
wood
the hate,
glue
you
and
must be
some
great.
sawdust and just mix it equal amounts and incorporate it really well together.
Yeah.
And once you have it incorporated really well, you can put
Negate
it
the
in
hate.
your
Negate the
holes
hate.
and flatten it out, let
Negate
it dry
hate.
completely,
Negate
and then you can sand it down
I
and you
know, I'm
fill
getting
in
weird
those
on you guys,
holes
but
and you're ready
it's
to
okay.
complete your
You're allowed
project.
to be different.
And it
You're
matches
allowed to be
really
different. You're
well
allowed
if
to
you're
be
using the same sawdust
obnoxious. You're
from
allowed
the
not to
type
be
of wood
rude.
that
You're not
you
allowed to
have
hurt
this.
anybody. That's not good. Right? See, look how this beautiful.
Next DIY hack.
Oh, this
If you have
beautiful
a glue stick that
purple.
keeps
You
slipping
can
out of the
just see
back
it,
of your
right?
glue
You can
gun,
see it.
heat up your glue
I mean,
gun,
you
just
don't see
press
the
the end of
beautiful
that glue
colors.
stick
Look
just
at
a
the
little bit
integration of the
into
beautiful
that top of your
colors.
glue gun, press it into the back, the glue
I know
will
what you're
stick
gonna say.
together
It's just
and
lady
it will
courtesy.
slide right through your gun and you don't need to worry about it falling out. Works perfect.
Hi, Miss Bella. Hello again.
Do you have a paintbrush that you left out by mistake, notorious for this, and it got hard and crusty? I'm going to show you how you can bring it back to life and you don't need to throw it out. Get a piece of cling wrap or saran wrap, lay it down nice and flat, put your paintbrush in it, and then get some hand sanitizer. We all have hand sanitizer laying around now, and we're going to pour some right into the bristles of that paintbrush.
Alright, so
Then
if
wrap
I
it up
get another
really
light,
firmly,
you
mushing
know
that
the
hand
rules. I
sanitizer
change the
into
colors.
that paintbrush and set it aside and let it sit for a few hours. Now once it's sat for a few hours, we're going to clean it up.
Thank you,
I like
Miss
to
Bella.
use a comb and just comb through that paintbrush. It's going to
Thank you
get
so
out
much for the
all of those little
compliment. You
bits
rock.
and pieces that hand sanitizer has melted and cleaned away.
Oh my
And
gosh.
you'll be surprised how well this works. I take it down, I'm going to
Alright,
clean
we're
it
gonna
up
do
with
it
some
like this
plastic
for a
water
second.
also.
Ooh,
Back
hello.
to being a usable, perfect paintbrush. Want an easy way to get pesky labels off glass jars and bottles? Just get your hair dryer. Put it on the highest setting.
Thank
Just
you, Miss
warm
Bella.
up that sticker so the
Hello,
glues get a
17
little bit
folks.
hot and
Come
your label will
guys, give me
peel
another
right
like.
off nice and
I
easy
will change
and
the
leave no residue.
color.
Is that easy?
I
And then if
have
you have
not
some
lost my
hard glue
mind.
residue left on your
I'm
glass
just
jar,
animated, just
get that
fine.
hand sanitizer out again, put a
I
little
lost
bit
my
right
legs for
into
support.
that glue and rub it in,
That's
let
not
it
gonna work
sit
too
for
well.
a few minutes and keep scraping at it and you'll see that that glue
Now,
residue will rub right off and it'll be left nice and clean. If it's being a little bit stubborn, I like to take the edge of an old pair of scissors and just rub it. Look how clean this is. It took all that residue off with a little bit of hand sanitizer. Okay,
See
this
that little
DIY
knot right
hack
there?
is just like
I'm going to
magic. If
continue
you bought a book at the thrift store
laying
and
around
somebody
it.
has
Watch me.
highlighted all of the pages, take a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice, rub it into that highlighter. It's disappeared. It's gone. Let the page
See if I can
dry.
do this like
Now you
this.
can craft with it.
Here we go. Is it gone? Yeah.
Now I'm sure everybody has
Uh-huh.
always made this mistake. They've taken their permanent
Excuse me.
marker and they've written on
There
their
you go.
dry erase board by mistake. I'm going to show you how to fix it. You're going to now take your dry erase marker and you're going to go right over top of that permanent marker that you
I'm
put on
sorry.
your dry erase
I'm
board.
like,
Cover that
I
whole
love,
word.
I'm like
And
a
then you're just
fanatic
going
of
to
the
take a
chance
cloth
Look at
and just
that.
like magic, it's going to wipe everything away. That permanent
Remember
marker is
earlier?
gone and all you've done is rub that dry erase marker on
That's
top.
one side,
Magic.
right? One end. Look at the other end. Look at the purple. The purple.
I love this DIY hack. It is such a time saver for painting beads. Get a glass
I know you
container
can't see
or a
it too well
plastic
right now, but
container,
there it
put
is.
your beads in it,
One
and then
side
I
is
like
peach,
to
the other
use
side
just
is
a
purple.
little bit of acrylic
Beige
paint. Now
and
this
little
one's
green.
almost empty. I'm
Give
going
it
to
one
water
more
it down
cut.
with a little
Give me
bit of warm
thumbs
water.
up.
You want it a
Change
little bit
colors.
thinner when you're trying to do this. We're going to whitewash these beads super fast. And you're just going to put a little bit of that paint into those beads. This one's kind of clumped up a little bit on me because it's really getting old. Pour a little bit more in, and then we're going to put the lid on the glass
There you
jar.
go.
Give it a shake, and it's going to cover all of those beads super quick, super fast, and give them a whitewashed look. I'm going to dump them out on a piece of paper towel and try not to have them all roll away on me, and then rub off all that extra paint. We don't need very much on it when we're trying to get a whitewashed look. and it works perfect, and it's so fast, and you don't have to take that fussy paintbrush and try to paint each bead individually. And of course, you can do all kinds of different colors. The possibilities are endless with this technique.
See, I knew this looked more like
And
a
how
blue than
beautiful are
purple
these
because look,
beads?
that's
Super
purple
fast way
right
to
there.
paint
So
them.
what's it? This is like a blue, right? Am I right? Am I right? Or am I right?
I
See, that's
have a
purple.
love-hate
And this is
relationship
like a
with
blue, right?
E6000. Love
Yeah.
the product,
If you give it a
hate
thumbs
the
up,
way that it's put together
change the
in
colors.
this tube. So hard when you get near the end to get all of that glue out. What I do, I cut the end off of it, and then you can squeeze from the top to the bottom,
Thumbs
and you're
up,
going to get
change the
every
colors.
last little bit of glue out, because it can be pricey, that you can use on your DIY projects. Squeeze it out the bottom, put it on your project, and then I like to put it in a little baggie. Make sure you get all of the air out of the baggie, squeeze it out really well, zip it up.
If you give it a thumbs up, change the colors.
I hope you've enjoyed
If you
today's
give it
video.
a
I'd
thumbs
love to know
up,
down in the comments
change
which
the
one was your
colors.
favorite crafting hack.
If
Thanks
you
for
give it a
watching.
thumbs
Have a
up,
great day, and we'll
change
see
the
you in the next
colors.
video. And
Just
if you love
change the
this
colors.
video,
Give me a
I'm
thumbs
sure
up
you'll love
already so I
either
can
of these
change the
next
colors.
two. Take care.
Come on, man.
The first
Come
cut
on,
cycle we're
man.
going to do is this
How long I
glass
gotta keep
jar,
this thing
and
going?
I'm going to paint
How
it
long before
with
you
my
justify the
homemade
colors?
baking soda paint. If
I
you haven't
want to
tried
change the
baking
colors.
soda
Don't you
paint on
want to change the
any
colors?
glass or ceramic, it works really
change the
well.
colors?
I have a great recipe.
Oh,
I'll put the link down below
pretty.
in the description, and you can try
You
it
cannot
out.
tell me this does not look pretty.
I'm just going
These
to put
colors
one
together.
coat
That's not a
over the
bright.
whole
That is a
glass
peach.
jar, and you can see
That's
it's
not a
kind of a
beige.
little
That
bit
is
of
a
a grainy
peach.
texture.
It is
It's not a
beautiful.
real smooth
You
texture.
probably can't
One
see
full
it. The
coat,
light
and then I'm
ain't
going to
gonna
let
do
it
it no justice
completely
right now.
dry, and then I'm going to put a second
Oh
coat
well.
on, and it
Gotta
is a
do the
little
best we
bit
can.
streaky, but that's okay. We're going to fix it on our last coat. So I'm just going to put on our second coat right now.
Oh, this
The
is
second
so,
coat has
so
completely
much
dried,
wet.
and that's key. You
So
have to
much
make sure
rubbish.
you're letting your coats of paint
Lord,
dry
the colors.
completely when you're painting glass
I know. You're
in
probably
between
wondering
each coat.
what is going on
I'm
with
going to
this
take a
lady.
little sponge,
What is
and
going
I'm
on
going to
with this
sponge
lady? I don't know
on
what's
that
going
baking
on with
soda
this lady.
paint over that whole
She
glass
sure does
jar,
a lot to
and that's
entertain
going to get
herself.
rid of all of those brush lines. You just want to dab it up and down over the whole surface. It gives it a little bit of a pebbly texture, but I really love this look. This paint texture is quite similar to a chalk paint. It might have a little bit more texture than the chalk paint, but I really like it, and it adheres really well to the glass if you're trying to find something that's going to stay put.
Come on, you guys have like
I've done up
less
2
for
glass
less.
jars, and now we're ready
You see
to
my
put some
efforts?
graphics on them.
You see my efforts? Did I get A plus?
For the graphics, I'm
A
going
plus
to
for
use my
efforts?
homemade decoupage napkins. If you can't find napkins that you want to use to decoupage with, you can make your own, and they're so simple. I have a full tutorial on how to do it. I'll put the link down below in the description. But what you're essentially doing is you're making your own napkins that are nice and thin and so easy to decoupage with. I printed off some of these graphics. They're going to be available in my Etsy store if you want to try them out. And I'm going to use the water transfer method to put these on the jars. When you're decoupaging with a napkin using this technique, I like to have a ragged edge around the graphic. You don't want to leave a straight edge because when you put it on, it doesn't blend in very well onto the bottle.
Oh,
I'm just
you
taking
nine
a
beautiful
really
people.
stiff paintbrush,
How
dipping it
are
in
you
water,
tonight?
and going all around the edge of that
You
napkin
awesome,
just to make
beautiful
it nice and
bastards,
ragged.
as a Franco
If you want to
would
make
say.
your own
Beautiful
decoupage napkins,
bastards.
you can use either a laser jet or an inkjet.
Or
Both
Nate
will
would
work
say,
fine.
howdy, howdy.
If you are using an inkjet, you might have a little bit of difficulty with the ink
How's
running,
it going,
but
guys?
you can prevent that by
Guys and
spraying your
gals?
napkin
Come
over
on, I
top of the
got 6
graphics with a
thumbs
little
up.
bit of
Can I get a 7
hairspray
so I can change the
before you
color?
do this technique and put it on your bottle.
Can I get a 7th thumb up
And
so
we're
I
going to
can
decoupage
change
this
the
on
colors?
with my Mod Podge mat.
If you give me a
Okay,
thumbs
this napkin
up,
is
change
all
the
ready.
color.
You want to turn it upside down, and I just
Okay,
have
so
a
you guys
plastic
must
sleeve
really
that I
like
got
this
at the
color.
dollar store. You're going to
I
take a
do
little
love this
rag,
color.
dampen it in water,
It's
and then drip it over that napkin
It's not
really
a
carefully.
navy
You have to
blue
be careful because it's
because
going
it
to be
got
really
like a
fragile
little
and it'll
more
tear
blue to
easy.
it than
Just pull out
navy.
any little wrinkles or
You know?
bubbles that you might have in it, and then you're
It's a
ready to
beautiful
put it
blue.
on the jar. Now we're going to take our Mod Podge mat. And we're just going to put a light coat over the whole area where that napkin is going to be decoupaged on. You don't want to put it on too thick. If you have it too thick, it's going to have a tendency to wrinkle and bubble really easy. So just a light coat.
I have 6 thumbs up.
And now we're ready to put that custom-made napkin onto that upcycled jar.
This is my
Put it
accent.
exactly where you want it. And the nice thing about this technique is you can pick it up and kind of move it around a little bit if it's not exactly where you want it. And you're going to start from the center and just push all those wrinkles and air bubbles out until you have that napkin secured right to that jar. And then you're going to really slowly lift away that plastic sleeve and you have a homemade decoupaged napkin onto your baking soda painted upcycled jar. And you can see how well it blended right in with that paint. It looks fantastic. And now I'm just going to do the same process on the second bottle that I painted.
Alright.
These are so fun
It's
because you
time
can
to
print
do
off
what you know
your
what time
own
it
quotes,
is.
you can print off photos, anything personalized when you're making your own decoupaged napkins.
Alright,
And now
so
we're
I
ready to
got
seal them up, and I
7
love using this water-based polyacrylic sealer. It gives it a nice hard finish that's easy to dust down. Here are the 2 finished jars, right out of the recycling bin, for free. I added a little bit of twine and some little ornaments to hang from the top, and I think they are adorable.
You cannot tell me, just do not.
Next project, we are going to take a pickle jar and we are going to paint it with my homemade chalk paint.
This side is
This
a
works
office
fantastic to
you know,
adhere to glass
really,
jars.
really nice.
I'm going to put on a
And this
really
side
good coat all over the
also
whole glass
nice.
jar, and then I'm going to set it
It's
aside
not- it
and
has
keep,
no glue
let
yet.
it dry completely before we put on the
This is
next
the same
coat.
4 rows in different
Putting
colors.
on that second
See?
coat of chalk paint,
See?
then I'm going to set it aside, let it dry completely,
the
and then we're going to be
one
ready
end,
to
and
put
this
on
is the
some
other
custom
end.
graphics.
Each of them, you
This
know,
jar
in their own way.
has 2 full coats of the chalk paint on it, and now we're going to
like
put on a
that.
graphic. I'm using my Mod Podge
I
reverse
like
graphic
that.
transfer method.
You like
I printed this off on my LaserJet printer, and you have to make sure if you're using words that you reverse them. If you don't reverse them, when you put them on your project, your words will be backwards. And I am going to use my Mod Podge mat again to apply this onto the jar. You don't want to put too much on, you just need a light coat and put it all over that piece of paper, and then you're going to center it on the glass jar, and then we're going to set it aside and let it dry for 24 hours. That's key with this technique, is to make sure that you let it dry really, really well. Now this is dried overnight. I'm taking a damp rag with just some water, and I'm just damping it so you can just start to see the graphics show through, and then you're going to just rub away all of that paper. This technique takes a little bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, it is fantastic, and the projects that you can make is unbelievable. And that's it for this one. We're going to seal it up with some polyacrylic sealer. I saved the top off of this mason jar. I'm going to screw it back into the top, fill it right full of some beautiful greenery, and let's stay home. Next project, we're going to make a plant hanger with one of these thrift store banana hangers. I find them all the time in the thrift store. If you see one, make sure you grab it. I'm giving this a really distressed look with some 80 grit sandpaper. This is a salsa jar. I'm putting on 2 full coats of my homemade chalk paint, making sure it's dried completely in between each coat. And then I'm going to do, again, my Mod Podge reverse graphic transfer. Printed it off on my LaserJet printer, sized it, reversed the text, and I'm using my Mod Podge to apply it onto the jar. Put it onto your jar, make sure you rub out all the bubbles and wrinkles, set it aside, let it dry for 24 hours, and then you're going to dampen it with a rag, and then just rub off all of the paper, and you're left with a fun graphic. I'm going to embellish this with some twine around the neck of it, and then I'm going to make a little hanger so we can hang it from that banana hanger and put a little full plant in it, and it is just adorable. I have this in my kitchen, and if you are a reseller, these are fantastic to resell.
Crazy.
Not a
Look at
lot
this
of
color.
cost involved in it,
Different,
and
unique,
it looks like a
beautiful,
high-end piece of decor.
beautiful.
I'm just putting
And
in a
I'm going
faux
to add it to
succulent that I
this.
found at Winners. It fit perfect right in there, and then I'm hanging it on that little piece of twine, and look how cute this is, and it is so
This is
easy.
leftovers from something else. So.
It would fit
There you
in with
go.
a farmhouse theme or a boho theme. Next up cycle, I'm going to do this pickle jar. I have this
Change the
knob in my
colors.
stash in my shed using some
If you
E6000,
give
and
it a
I'm going to
thumbs up,
glue it on
I'll
the top of
change the
that lid,
colors.
set it aside, let it dry completely. And then I'm soaking off the
Give it
label
a
in some
thumbs
hot
up,
soapy
I'll
water,
change the
getting it really
colors.
nice and clean, and then I'm going to paint it
Oh.
with my homemade chalk paint. I'm going to put 2 full coats on this jar, letting it
I'll
dry
change the
completely
colors.
in
You can
between
give it a
each coat.
thumbs
And like
up.
I said before, I'll have a link to my chalk paint recipe down in the description. Works
Hello,
fantastic on
27
glass.
folks.
We're just going to put a
How's you
real
doing
simple
tonight?
graphic on this one. Simply
How's it
glass.
doing? How's it
And
doing?
laser jet
Everything
printer.
that I stitch
Make
and
sure I
knit
reverse my text.
or
And I'm just going to
crochet,
use my Mod
if you want
Podge,
to get
put just a
technical, I
light
don't need
coat
you.
over
Hopefully you'll.
the entire graphic and then place it on the jar. This
Oh,
product that I'm using right here
goodbye,
is the exact same
27.
as
You
Mod
don't
Podge. You
like
can find it at
what I
Michael's.
do?
It's actually a little bit more reasonably priced
This
than
is
the
some
Mod Podge. I
yellows,
pick it up every
greens,
once in a
baby
while.
blues,
Little knob has dried on top of the lid. I've taken it outside and I'm going to give it just a really good
colors.
coat of my black spray paint.
3 knots.
And now we're going to decoupage some napkins around that
Turn
graphic.
your
This
craft
is just a
around.
napkin I picked up at the dollar
Show it
store.
off. Show
And
it
when
off.
you're
A
doing
little
this
bit,
something
little
like a
bit.
flower, you want to make sure you're tearing it all around
Here you go.
before you
All
decoupage it on. If
around.
you just leave the straight lines of the napkin and when we put it on
So
the
you see
jar,
this?
it just
You
doesn't
want
look
to fix
very
this?
nice.
You
We're
don't
going to
like
rub
this?
off the paper on
You
this
don't want to
graphic
cut it?
first
You
before
could
we
just cut it.
decoupage onto the napkins. Just wet
I
it
don't
with
want
some water and taking my finger and rubbing all of that
extra
paper
knot.
off. And
That's
that's all
4
done.
knots.
Let's get decoupaging.
And then we're going to cut.
When you're decoupaging, less is more. You don't need very much product. Just put a real light coat on and then just place your napkin down exactly where you want it. Tap it down with your fingers to get all the bubbles and wrinkles out and just have fun with it. And look how cute this turned out.
Look at
Just
that.
blended in perfectly with that graphic and the lid just
That's
finished
the
it
loose
off
end.
perfectly.
So now let's continue on with this brand new roll. Now you know the rules. If you give me a thumbs up, I changes the color. So this is gonna be 3 tiers, right? 3 tiers up. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna knit the first 4. Remember, I always told you 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, okay, okay. Whoop. Next, to the first hole. Go through once, go through 2. Pick it back up, up, up.
The first one you can work on is one of these mason jars. You want to make sure you have an area
No,
where
okay.
you
See, I
can
messed
keep
it up.
everything
You
kind
guys
of
are making me
neat because it was
nervous.
staying with the food
Never
coloring.
had so many of you around watching me.
Piece of tinfoil,
Alright,
and
so we're
then
gonna go
put
back
a piece
in.
of paper towel on top of it so when you
One,
drain it out, it can catch on the paper towel and not make a mess.
2,
I'm going to be
and
using
then you
the
go through
Allen
the 2
scroll
again.
glue. Now,
2.
there isn't really an
And you end
actual
up with 1,
measurement to
right?
this. You just
Yay.
kind of want
And you do that
to mix
over
up
and
enough
over
that you
and
think
over
it's going
again.
to be good
Over
for
and
your
over and
project.
over again. Until you guys like,
And when I'm using
I
the
can't
scroll
change the
glue,
color.
I don't like to
So I got
dilute
7
with
likes right
any
now.
water. I find it sticks to the jar
7
better
puny little
without
likes.
being
19 of
diluted.
you
If
lovely
you're using
folks.
Mod Podge,
Nobody
which
wants me
also
to change
works
the color?
perfect for this
Alright
project,
then.
you
So
might
let's
want
get to
to
stitching.
kind of water it down a little bit because I do find that it is a little bit thicker and doesn't run as well over the bottle as the Elmer's glue does.
Beautiful.
So
This is a
I'm just
different
adding
material. I know you could tell, right?
my food
Different
coloring
material. This is
until
100%
I get
cotton.
the desired color that I want. You want to make sure that
Not
you're
wool.
using
But it's okay. It's going to
quite a
cause a
bit.
little
You want quite
difference
a dark
in the
color.
feel. But it's
Because as
alright.
this dries, it's going to lighten.
Makes my
So
scarves unique.
by making it darker, you'll know that you're going to have it the right color when you're
Look
finished
at
this
this.
project. So
Look at
I'm
this.
going to add, I think, a little
Beauty.
bit more. And you just kind of do it until
Beauty.
you're happy with the color. And all of this food coloring is just in my craft room. I don't use it for my cooking. It was just bought just for
Look at
craft.
this beauty.
Okay, so this is a really good color. Nice
You cannot
dark blue.
tell me.
And now we're
Excuse
ready
me.
to
I didn't mean to botch that.
in the jar. Now while you're
You
mixing
cannot
up
tell
this
me this is
color,
not beautiful.
you can preheat your oven. We're going to preheat the oven to 175
Beautiful.
to
Look
200.
at this.
So it's nice and hot and ready for when we're finished with these jars so you can bake them. And I'm just going to dump the mixture right into the glass jar. This
That's
is
not a
really
boo-boo, that's just
simple, easy
the
DIY.
continuation. See, that's what happens
And
when
it
you
creates
see?
beautiful tinted
Don't worry
stained
about
glass And you can do it in all kinds of different
Let's
colors
just keep
for
moving.
every season, and they look perfect.
Give me a thumbs
And
up. I'll
the
change the
center of
color.
the table. I'm just gonna get everything in there, and then once you have it
2,
all over this little container,
3. Give
we're
me a
gonna
thumbs
swirl
up.
it
I'll
around in the
change the
glass
color.
jar and make sure it gets completely coated.
Look how pretty.
I've got it swirled
Look how
around,
pretty as
completely
it
covered
changes the
on the inside,
color.
and now I'm just gonna set it on the paper towel and let it
Ooh,
drip
who
down
could
and make
not
sure that
say
it's
that
all
this is not
completely
hot?
covered really well. Now I'm gonna do
Maybe
a
I'm
yellow one
loving
in
the
this little
colors too
jar.
much, but
So once
it's
again, we're
beautiful.
just gonna measure out the glue
I
to
am gonna keep this going
approximately
until
what you
I
think
either run
will
out of yarn or you guys give it another
cover the
like.
glass. Add the food coloring and
Come
swirl
on,
it around.
guys, gals.
And again, make sure
Come
you
on, come
add
on, come
lots of
on. I'm
color
pleading. I'm
because it's
begging.
gonna
I was
dilute the color
begging,
as it dries. So
begging
maybe mix a color that you think you wanted and then just add a little touch
baby.
more
I'm
and that will probably
begging. I'm
be the
messing up
color
that
that you
song, aren't I?
want. This one's
Begging
going to be
you.
really pretty, this nice and vibrant yellow. Got this all swirled around. We're ready to put it upside down and let it drain off. Now, when you're doing these, they're never going to be
I'm
perfect. You're
bringing
always going to
yarn
have
and
the
bag.
odd streak
Yeah,
or the
look
odd
at that
bubble there.
beautiful,
I
beautiful,
actually really like that because then it makes it look
beautiful,
like it's old and vintage and
beautiful.
not brand new.
Alright, when it starts
And
getting
now
too
I'm
thick,
going to
I
do
like when it
some
starts getting too thick
green.
because then your fingers
I'm
won't
going to do
reach. See this?
6
It makes it
different
harder to
colors so I
reach.
can show you
So that's
how
when you
they
have to
all
start
look
grabbing it like
when they're
this.
finished and how vibrant and beautiful they can be even all together.
And now you can actually
Just going to add
help guide it
the
faster.
green
It gets
food
faster
coloring.
because you can grab it better.
And I'm not going to show you my fingers because I'm already covered in, I probably should have put some gloves on, but that's not the way I roll. I always like to have a big mess, as you know. But this will stain, so if you don't want to get your fingers all different colors, then put some gloves on.
Give it a like, I'll
So
change
I'm
the
just mixing
color.
up this beautiful green color. I want it to be
Give
quite
it a
a
like,
dark,
I'll change the
so I
color.
add a bit more, and then we're ready to
23, is that 20? Oh,
and
15.
swirl it around.
I had 23. I thought I was going to be a winner like Jordan. And now I'm back to 15. Well, you know what? 15. There's still time for you. Time for you. And time for
The green
you.
one's done.
18.
And
I
I'm
was
just
just
gonna put it
18
upside down
years
and let
old
it
when
drain
I
also.
hit the road.
I love
I
this
was
little
just
bottle of
18
and
years
I think I
old
want to
when
make
I
it
hit
amber.
the road. If you give
So
me
I'm
a
gonna mix
like,
up
I say
some
change the color.
brown
Give me a
and
like
then
and
a
I'll change the
really
color.
pretty amber
Give me a
color
like
for
and I'll
this.
change the color. Give me
Dump
a
in what
like,
I think I
I'll
need
change
for
the
the
color.
project.
Give me a like, I'll
Get a
change
little
the color.
skewer,
Whew. Do you guys
scoop
realize
it
how
into
long I've been
the
on this?
glue. And like I said
It's been
before,
an hour
if
and
you
a
have
half
some almond
just on
glue,
this one
you
right
can
now,
use
but
that. You can
earlier I
also
was
use the
already
Elmer's
on
glue
live.
clear.
I
It works
started
really
this one.
well. And you can
I
also use Mod
started
Podge.
this scarf
Like I
earlier
said
on the
before, the Mod
live.
Podge is a little
Now
bit
look at
thicker,
where we at.
so
Look
you
at
might
where
want to
we're at.
water it down a little bit with a little tiny bit of water
Oh,
when you're doing this technique. And
nobody
I
likes those
found with this
colors.
glue you didn't need
These
to.
colors are crazy. You don't like the colors.
Okay, now I'm going to
I think
do
it's
pink.
beautiful.
The nice thing about this set of all the different gel colors is they're already mixed into specific colors. If you're getting the little food coloring that has just the 4 different colors, you'll have to mix and match. Get your color chart out to mix the colors that you want. That's what I like about this one. This one's already mixed to pink and you can use it right away.
Uh-oh, I'm running out. I'm running out of this beautiful,
Now,
beautiful
one thing that I
turquoise
will mention with this is this is
waterish
not permanent. This is just glue and food coloring.
oceanic.
You can't do this process and then fill it with water and put flowers in it or something like that. It'll just peel right off the jar. This is just for decor purposes only. And if you do it and you don't like the way that it turned out,
You're not going to give me a
soak
like?
it
Give
in
me a
some
like. I'll
really
change the
hot soapy
color.
water
Quick,
and
before I
get a
run out
scrub
of the
brush
color.
and
If I
it'll
change,
all come back
if I run
and
out
you
of
can
color,
start from
I'm done.
scratch again. Now this one, I'm kind of
I'm now
going
be
to mix
forced
the
to change the
glue
color.
in
Is that
probably
what you
well
want?
enough with the
Is that
food
what you
coloring, and
want?
it's got a little bit of a
Mmm.
textured color
We'll
to
see.
it. So it might turn out a little bit streaky, but that's okay. I don't mind that look, and we're just gonna
Okay.
roll with it.
In case you think I'm mad, I'm not mad. I'm
Last
enthusiastic.
photo, I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to do it in red. And I'm going to mix it all up, swirl it around, and then we'll be ready to put these all in the oven and let them bake. The other thing that I should mention before I put these in the oven is these have to be really super clean before you do this. If there's any grease or grime on the inside, the paint and the food coloring will not stick to it, and you'll end up having
Give me a
a
thumbs up.
blob
I'll
of
change the
blob in your
colors.
glass where
Give
it
me a
hasn't
thumbs up.
attached.
I'll
So
change the
give it a
colors.
really good scrub in a soapy sink full of water, and even an alcohol wipe to wipe out the inside would help too. I've got these all done. My oven's
I'm running out of
preheated,
the
and I'm
color,
ready to take it
guys.
down
Give
and put
me,
it in the oven.
give me a
And
thumbs up so I can change the
can't wait to
color.
see
I'm
how
running
these
out of
turn
this
out.
color.
And wearing gloves.
Oh.
And a perk also.
Ew.
The oven is
Ooh,
preheated
21.
to 175.
21
I put them
times 3.
on a tinfoil lined cookie
7
sheet,
days a
and we're
week.
just going to leave them in there for
21
about 5
times 3.
minutes.
I
And then
got
we're going
7
to
likes.
rotate them
Can I
over
get
the
an
other
8th
side,
like?
and we're
I'll
going to
change
just
the
keep doing that
colors.
back and forth
I'm going
until
away.
they're completely dry, and you'll know they're dry when they're translucent. Now they're all done. It probably took about a half an hour in the oven, and putting them up and down and reversing it every 5 minutes to get them dry. They all turned out really well, except for this blue one. And I think I know what happened. It probably had a little bit of residue on the inside, and it wasn't sticking. And you can see how it kind of bubbled up, and it didn't work. And sometimes this can be a little bit of a tricky process. So I just wanted to show you that not all the time doesn't always work out perfect. But I am going to wash this one out and probably redo the blue over again. But the other ones turned out perfect, and I love them. And I'm just going to show you, you can see how easy it is to redo it. This kind of just peels right out, and you can retry it again. So I'm going to do this one again, but I'm going to make sure that I really, really clean it really well. I probably didn't use enough of an alcohol wipe to get any grease or grime. Maybe it had some sort of a greasy food in it before, and that's why it didn't adhere. But I just want to update you guys on that in case that does happen to you. They're all finished, and I love them, and probably the amber is my favorite color. Let me know down in the comments which one's your favorite. I got 3 upcycled glass bottles and jars that I saved, and I'm going to show you how I paint them with no chipping, no peeling, and it works fantastic. I scrub these all in hot soapy water down in my kitchen sink, and now I'm going to wipe them down with the rubbing alcohol. This is so important because a lot of these jars have greasy food or residue on the inside and the outside that will prevent the paint from sticking. Don't skip this step. Now, this is a step that I've just recently added, and I find it makes a really big difference. You can just paint, chalk paint on your glass jars, and it sticks really well. Never had a lot of problems, but if you want it to really, really stick and have absolutely 0 problems, I like to use either a flat white spray paint, or if you have any spray primer, this one's even better. Give it a little tiny spritz. You don't need to cover your whole jar. Just give it a spritz, just enough, just to give it a little bit of hope. And that's a fantastic base to start your painting. I'm going to take this out to my shed and give all 3 of these a little spritz. I'm taking this outside and you can see I'm just giving it like a really
Pick it up.
light
Pick it up.
spritz.
Pick
You
it
don't need
up.
very much. It doesn't have to
One.
be covered completely.
I dropped it
Just
again.
enough for the paint to adhere to it. We're now
You
ready
just
to
pull
start
it out.
painting. I
Start
am just
over
using
again.
my homemade white chalk paint. I'll put a link down below in the description so you can make some for yourself. I find it works really well painting glass. I'm just going to do the bottoms first, and then we'll paint the sides.
Yes. Somebody give a like so I can change the
Now we're
color.
going to use
29 of you guys
and
on
paint
right now.
on a good coat
Begging,
on all the bottoms.
begging you.
You don't want to put it on too
Somebody's at
thick.
the bell.
You want
I
light
should go
coat,
and answer that.
and
I don't know.
this little
Somebody
chip
else
brush
go over
works
it.
fine
I'm not gonna get it
for
right
this
now.
process.
Oh, lives. Lives are busy. If it ain't one
First
more
coat
time, I'll
is
go get it.
completely on. Huge tip. Do not put your second coat on until these are completely dry. Really, really dry. That's important. If you try to paint on your second coat before the first coat is completely dry, it's going to lift off. So we're going to set it aside
Can I get
and let it dry completely.
one more light?
Ready
I'll
for the
change the
second
color.
coat.
I'm about to
I
run
want
out
to
of this
brush
color,
on the
guys.
second coat
Gals,
again.
somebody
If you
listen
find you
to
have really
me.
good coverage with the first
I
coat,
ain't out of
you
this
can go with the third
color.
coat where
I know
I
I
put the
sound
sponge
pathetic right
on.
now, but
But
if you
I'm
guys
going to
don't give
put
me a
the
like, I
second coat
can't just
on. I
change
just
the
find
color.
it
I'm
covers
running out of
better,
this yarn, though.
and you can just see how your paint works for you. Our second coat is completely dry, and you can tell that it's really adhered to the glass. But when you're using the brush, you can see stroke marks. So our last coat, always like to use a sponge and dab it on.
Oh, the team just did down for you.
Our coat that we put on with the sponge is all completely dry now, and as you can see, I'm scrubbing really hard. This is not coming off. It bonds really, really well. That's how easy it is to paint glass and have it look nice and smooth and ready for your DIY project. This is such a fantastic technique because it works on clear glass. A lot of transfer methods don't work well on clear glass, and when you try to do it, they rub off. You just don't have really great results. With this method, it works fantastic.
Give me a like.
For this technique, you're going to need this paper that's shiny underneath. I found these label sheets at the thrift store. They work fantastic. You can also use address label sheets. Take off the stickers. That's what we're going to use. I am now going to go and upload my image that I want to use into Google Docs, size it to fit my project. I have a full tutorial on how to use Google Docs to resize your graphics if you're not sure how to do it. I'll put the link to that video down in the description. Once you have it completely sized, we're going to load it into our printer, making sure that it's going to print on the shiny side. Now, this technique will only work with a laserjet printer. You won't have very good results with an inkjet. I've printed it off, and now we're going to use clear shelf liner that you can pick up at the dollar store. Now we're going to cut the graphic off that sheet of paper a little bit bigger than the actual size of the graphic, and make sure that you're not touching the ink because it will rub off. And then cut a piece of that shelf liner the exact same size as that transfer. I have 3 projects in this video using this technique, and make sure you stick through right to the end because they all turned out absolutely adorable. Peel off that shelf liner and then really carefully center it over that graphic, making sure not to move it. You only have one chance. Lay it down, flatten out all the bubbles and wrinkles, and then I like to use my Cricut scraper, or you can use some sort of a credit card, and really press that shelf liner right into that graphic. Once you've really got all the bubbles and wrinkles out of it, you're going to trim around the edges, and then we're going to prep our project. I like using some rubbing alcohol. This is just a candle that I found at the thrift store. It hadn't been used yet, so it was brand new, and it's in that clear glass jar. Now comes the magic. You've peeled that shelf liner off that piece of paper. The graphic stays on it, and you have created a transfer that you can put on any clear glass projects. Isn't this absolutely fantastic? And you can just imagine the possibilities. You can custom make these. I was thinking as I was making them how beautiful it would be for a wedding or baby showers or customized gifts for the holidays. Okay, for this transfer, I am going to do it on a wine bottle that I got out of my recycling bin. Same process as last time. We're going to measure it to make sure that it's going to fit our project, and then print it off on that paper on the shiny side. Now this will also work on the sheets that the vinyl comes on from your Cricut machines. So if you have some of that paper, cut it down to the size of a sheet of paper that will fit in your printer, and you can print on it, and it'll work the exact same as this type of paper. All the graphics that I'm using in today's video are available on my Etsy store. If you want to go over and have a look, I'll put the link down below in the description. I have all kinds of printable, downloadable graphics there for all of your crafting DIYs. It takes some hard pressure scraping that transfer onto that piece of shelf liner, and you can always lift it up a little bit and make sure that it's transferred, and then push it back down and redo it if it's not transferred completely. But isn't this just like magic? We've created a transfer that we can put on clear glass and you can see it really well, and I think it's such a fantastic technique. And this one's all finished, and I think it would look beautiful if you filled it up with some rice or some beans or some popcorn, and you could put it on a shelf in your kitchen. Or you could even fill it up with some twinkly lights, and that would look really pretty also. We cook with a lot of olive oil, so when I found this glass bottle full of olive oil at the grocery store, I knew I had to buy it. I soaked the label off and then scrubbed it really well with some hot soapy water, dried it, and now I want to paint the inside of this glass jar just for a different look to show you how it's going to turn out. I have just squirted acrylic paint into this bottle. I'm swirling it around until it's completely covered. You can also add some polyacrylic sealer into the acrylic paint if you want. If you want it to be really durable and stay put. For this project, I'm just using my acrylic paint, swirling it around until that bottle is completely finished. Printed off my graphic on a piece of that label paper, putting on my clear shelf liner, scraping it really well, making sure that that ink is transferring onto the shelf liner, and then putting it on my bottle.
Oh my gosh, is he really that happy? Because I got 27 of you watching me and not one. I need you to give me one like. You give me one more like. I change it to 8 and I change color. I'll change the color. I'll change the color if you like it. Give it a like. I change the color. I'm almost approaching the end of this row.
I want to make these into some fall decor. And you can tip glass, and I've seen it done where you do the inside of jars, and you'll swirl the glue and the dye on the inside, and it creates really beautiful tinted glass. But with these candle holders, you can't get into the middle. These are from the dollar store, and I wanted to make them a nice amber color. So I'm going to show you today how I do it. It's really simple and really easy, and this is what you're going to need to do the project. I would like to put some gloves on because we're going to be working with some food coloring, and it will really stain your hands. A couple little dishes to mix up the this and some Elmer's school glue, and you're just going to need a paintbrush to paint it onto your surfaces.
What is this here?
This is just a package of food coloring that I bought on Amazon, and it has all the different colors into it. It was really affordable, so that's what I've picked up. And it just comes in a little containers, and you can mix up, get your color chart out, and you can mix up any color that you want with what they have here. So, that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to use the washable school glue from Elmer's. You can also, if you have it clear, that might work better actually, because we want this to dry clear. But this one does too, and it works perfect. This one came with a brown already, so I don't have to mix it. And I'm just going to do the school glue into a little dish. You just want to mix enough that you're going to use for your project. Probably about a tablespoon. And then I have a little skewer, and I'm just going to scoop out some of this food coloring and add it to that glue until I get the color that I want. And as you can see, it's already mixing up into a really great color. That amber color. So just mix it up really well, and then we're going to add it onto our project. I got it all mixed up, and now we're just ready to paint it onto this glass candlestick. Now I made sure I wiped this down really well, and then I took an alcohol pad and made sure there's no drips of red on it, so this will stick to it really well. And I'm just going to paint it on. Now this has completely
you don't like my
dried,
singing? Yeah,
and
fine. I
really
don't
love
sing
the
no
color
more.
of it, but I think I want it a little bit
You have to
darker.
give me a
So
thumbs up.
I'm going to
If
put
you give me a
another
thumbs
coat
up, I
on
don't
it,
sing.
and with this second coat, I am going to use
And I changed the
a
color.
sponge, and I think it might
But
get rid of some
if
of
you don't,
those
I'll just continue.
brush lines from the
I do
brush,
love
and I
this
can
blue.
put it on a little bit thicker too, and it'll stay in place. So just doing the second coat with the sponge. Now I have the second coat completely finished, and using that sponge on the second coat covered it a lot better because I could get into all those little nooks and grooves and get it all covered really well. So now we're just going to set it aside and let it dry. Now I'm just starting this second one to match this one, and I've run out, so I'm just going to make a little bit more just to finish up this project. So again, you're just using your school glue,
Friends to the
and then
end.
adding a little bit of the brown food coloring. And then I didn't mix up quite enough in the first batch, so I should be able to get the same color again, pretty close to what I had, so it'll all match really well. And then I'm ready to sponge on some more. Now I found the first coat that I did with the brush, I had a lot of brush streaks, so I'm finding that I'm really liking the sponge to use it. It gives a really kind of textured look to it that I really like. So probably when I do my next project, I would just eliminate using the brush completely and just start with the sponge right from the start. So I'm just going to sponge on the second coat onto this one and then let them all dry up. I got them all done and they're dry. I love them. They look like they're old and vintage, and by sponging it on, it gave it kind of a little bit of a textured look. And I'm ready to seal them up. And now I'm ready to start the second project. I'm going to use this mayonnaise jar. I love the shape of it. It has a really nice curve to it. And another one of the dollar store candle holders. And I'm going to give this one in the orange, which I think will look really pretty, and put it all together. So let's get started. I'm going to pour in the school glue, enough to do the whole project. Kind of just eyeball it. There's not really any real measurements for this. Kind of just add until you like the color, and pour enough glue in to do your whole project. So I'm just going to stir in the orange food coloring, and it turns into a really nice, vibrant orange. I think I want to add a little bit more.
You guys like it? Look at you.
And it looks great. And we're ready to put it on our project. And I'm going to start off with this one using the sponge right from the very beginning because I like the look of that. Now I'm using the gel food coloring. I'll put a link down below in the description for what I bought because it does look perfect. But you can also use a liquid that comes in the little droppers, and it works fine too. I like this one because it's already pre-mixed into a bunch of colors, or if you're buying the drops that is like the 4-pack, then you have to mix your colors together to get the desired color that you want. So I'm just going to start sponging on the candlestick first.
See the different colors? You have peach, beige, or brown, but light brown beige.
First coat's all done.
It might be a little too much for some, but it'll be just right for others.
All ready to put a second
See,
coat
this
on.
is another one I have finished already.
Candlestick.
I gotta just, nip, cut, or I could just interstitch it. This is what it'll look like when it's perfect. Look at that.
These are all dry, and I'm ready to seal with some
Somebody this
polychrome
winter
sealer.
is going to appreciate this.
Look at the texture and the color on these. I just love it. It's fantastic. And the nice thing about this is you could soak this in hot soapy water after the season's done for the fall and redo them over for Christmas. Because this is just glue and food coloring, and even putting the polyacrylic on top, it will still soak right off. Now I want to glue these two pieces together like this, so I'm going to use my E6000. It sticks just about everything, and I'm just going to put it on the lip of this candlestick, and then center that jar on top of it, and then I'm going to let it sit until tomorrow, and then I'll show you how it turned out.
Alright.
I took the lid outside and spray painted it with some black spray paint.
Because I've been on here
I found
long
this little
enough.
top
I'm
off a
tired.
spindle, and I think I'm going to use it to put on the top of that
I'm not
mason
getting
jar
all
lid.
that tired
And I'm
actually,
going to
but
paint it with some green and gold paint to
I'm
make
gonna
it
take
look
a
like
break,
a pumpkin
so a
stem.
break I will do. Oops, this thing came apart.
I got the spindle all
Now I can
finished,
fix
and I
it.
made it nice and rustic and chippy. And I'm going to use some E6000 to glue it on top of the lid.
Now remember, you gotta turn it around.
I'm going to make some custom candles to go into
So
these.
nobody liked
I've
it.
done
We're
my
gonna continue.
homemade
1,
graphics
2,
on
3,
napkins.
4.
It's really easy. I have a tutorial. I can link down below in the description if you ever want to make your own custom napkins to make for your candles. And I'm just going to
You got less than 20,
put it
less
on
than
the
10
candle,
minutes.
just like this, and it'll look really nice displayed in it. So I'm going to work away at that.
Because I need a like. So I can change the color.
This is such an easy DIY to tint glass with your Elmer school glue and a little bit of food coloring dye. You can also substitute the school glue for Mod Podge, and that also works really well too. But I love the way these turned out. I love the orange textured on this upcycled glass mayonnaise jar and the dollar store candlesticks. Perfect addition to my Halloween and fall decor. I'm going to do this crackle glass technique on these glass jars that I've pulled out of my recycling bin. You're going to need some crayons, and you're going to need the white crayon for the first project. You want to make sure your glass is nice and clean. Wipe it down with an alcohol pad, and then just start drawing all over your glass jar. Lines in different ways, and up and down and sideways, all over the whole jar. And you can do the bottom too. Make sure you're putting enough pressure on the crayon that you're leaving an imprint on that glass. And to get a proper crackled glass look, you want to make sure you're using the white crayon for this project. I've got it completely covered. Now we're going to get our polyacrylic sealer, water-based. I have a little glass dish, and I'm just going to pour a little bit, you don't need very much, into the glass dish. And then we're going to use some really fine silver sparkle. You don't want a sparkle that's going to be a bigger chunk. You want a really fine, almost dust silver sparkle. And we're going to incorporate that into the polyacrylic sealer. I'm just going to use my paintbrush and mix it up really well. No set amount, just until you think that it will look good and sparkle nice on your glass. And then you're just going to take that polyacrylic sealer with the sparkle and just cover that whole glass jar, the top and the bottom.
Drop the stitch. Not a
I let the first
problem.
coat of the polyacrylic sealer completely dry. And now I'm going back in with that crayon again and remarking on top of that polyacrylic all over in that crisscross pattern, up and down and across. No real set way, just go over the whole thing with the crayon. And then we're going to go on top with another layer of that same polyacrylic sealer with the sparkle in it.
Now what they're going to
It's
do is
really
going to
important
steal
that
my
you let it
idea,
dry really well in between
and they're
coats,
going
or
to
you're
turn
gonna
around
have
and now
things
do,
kind of move around
oh, I do
underneath.
shadow
I
knitting.
set mine out in the
I
sun,
do
and it
shadow
dried
knitting
really quickly.
first. And watch, they're gonna do the
After I
same
got that
exact same
second coat
thing
on
and
it,
get
before it
thousands and
dries, I like to
thousands of
take my
views
paintbrush
because
and
they
just
could promote
dab
it,
it.
but
It
I
gives it a little
can't.
bit of a stippled effect, and it helps pop that crackled glass look when it's all dry. Okay, so we're getting there. It's now completely dried again. We're gonna go back one more time again with that crayon. Crisscross everywhere, marking it
Oh,
up
she
and
wants
down.
to
I'm
actually see
trying
the
to create a
original. The
really fine
shadow is not the
crackled glass
original.
look.
Even by nature, a shadow is a copy.
I like to do 2 or 3 layers of this crackle technique. I just think it makes it look more authentic and more like crackled glass. And we're going to apply our last coat of that polyacrylic sealer with the sparkle
Come
in
on,
it.
give me a
Same
light.
thing, we're going to
Come
tap it
on, give me a
on and
light.
just kind of tap it up
Come
and
on,
down,
give me
give
a
it that
light.
stippled effect,
Give me a
put
light,
it
give me a
outside
light.
in the sun,
Yay.
and let
We
it
got
dry
6 minutes
completely.
left.
It's now completely dried. I am
So
going to take this outside and I'm going to give it its final coat, and I'm going to use my
Alright,
engine
you don't have to
enamel.
like it.
This is going to put a
But thank you
really
so much
heavy
for
duty
watching.
coat on the
Thank you
outside
so
of
much
it
for
so
stopping
it can be
by.
dusted. It's
Thank
not
you
going
so
to
much for
be
being here for a
waterproof,
second.
but it's going to be water resistant, so you can wipe it down with a damp rag when you want to clean it. Putting a liberal coat on, we're going to set it aside and let it dry completely. I'm going to do a second one, but we're going to use pink this time. The pink crayon.
Nene.
And same method, we're going to crisscross
With,
over that whole entire glass jar.
Hello,
You can
hello.
see how you can get
Mrs.
really
Nene.
creative with this technique, and you can do it for all the different seasons. I was thinking how cool this would be to do one for Halloween and do it in black with a black crayon and black sparkle. I think that would look fantastic. So I have this completely covered all over with the crayon. Same thing, we're going to pour in a little bit of that polyacrylic sealer, and I have some pink sparkle. Just going to add it into it, stir it up with my paintbrush to incorporate it really well.
Are you still there?
And I wanted to do a little bit of a twist with
there?
this one. I'm going to get my gel food coloring. I bought this pack
Is
of
there
all
any
these different
relation
colors.
to
I'm just going to
Shanana?
add a little tiny
Any
dab of
relation
it
to
into that
Shanana?
polyacrylic sealer. It's just going to tint everything to have a little
Oh
bit
my
more of a
God.
pink color. And I think it'll look really beautiful when we paint
You're
it on
so
top of that jar.
cool.
If you don't have any food coloring, you can always add just a little dab of acrylic paint also. First coat, we're going to paint over the entire glass jar, over all of that crayon, and do the sides and the bottom. And make sure you're saving all of your glass jars out of the recycling bin, because this is just one of many DIYs that you can do with glass jars. Let it dry completely. We're going back in with the crayon again, and marking every which way, up and down and sideways. And then we're going to do another coat of the polyacrylic sealer again.
Alright, even if I don't crack you guys up, I crack myself up. And no, I'm not high or anything. It's just funny watching it go from 27 to 18 just because I started singing. And then it went back up to 27. See? Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
And here are our finished glass
we're almost
cracker
done here
jars.
with this color.
I think it actually looks really authentic, especially the white one. The pink
It's
doesn't
beginning to
show
change
maybe
colors
quite as
again,
much, but
guys.
still it's fun to do in all kinds of festive colors. But the white is gorgeous. And how easy of a DIY is this?
Oh no.
With all you need is a little bit of glitter, polyacrylic sealer, and a crayon.
She's having fun doing that?
I just hot glued
She's having
some
fun
twine
doing
on
that?
top of this one, and I had a piece of lace that I put on
Dang
white
it,
crackled
child.
glass.
Dang
And
it,
this is what they
child.
look like at night. Aren't they beautiful? And they just sparkle so nice with a little candle in them.
She's donating
So
that?
give this technique a try.
She's
And let me
stupid.
know down in the
She
comments
said,
how you
said
made
it.
out with it.
I was said it.
I have an
Hello, I'm
abundance
back to
of
23,
glass
Jordan.
jars
Oh,
from the recycling
22.
bin.
Whoa, I
I
lost a
can't
year.
throw
It's
these
okay.
in. I use them for storage. I craft with
It's
them.
okay. I guess
And
a
then
lot
I
of
get
people
too
wish they
many,
could turn
so
back the
I'm
hands
at
of
the too
time.
many stage.
There's always
Any
share, right?
glass jar. I save the
If she
lids
could
and glass
turn
jars
back
because I
time,
have a full video on
if she could
glass
find a
jar lid
way
upcycles. There's some really great ideas in
to
that, so
take
never get rid
back
of
all the
these. I'm going to
wrinkles
use
that
this one
hurt
for
her
this upcycle.
all
Glass jar. You want to make sure that you scrub
day.
it really well. So water, and I sometimes will even take an alcohol pad
If she could
and really
reach
clean it with
the
alcohol, especially if it's got
stars,
something oily in it.
she'd
If
give
you
them
have any of that
all
oil on the
to
outside of your
you.
glass jar, your paint is not going to stick. I'm telling you, it'll peel off. So a lot of times you can paint
Back
glass
down.
just with chalk paint, and it appears pretty well.
I'm sorry.
I've
It's
never
okay.
really had a
Every time
lot
I
of
sing,
issues.
huh?
If I'm using my
Okay.
homemade chalk
Okay.
paint,
Okay.
I can get it to stick to glass pretty good. But I've added another step because with this first step, it does not chip or peel at all. So especially if you're going to be selling your items,
All right.
I
Under
would
a minute.
recommend doing this
I'm
step
gonna let you guys
because
go. Thank you so
you
much for
don't want
being
your
here.
customer to take
Thank
their
you
glass
so
jar
much
home
for
and
trying to
then 6
enjoy the
months
show.
from
I hope I
now,
inspired
their
you
paint's all
to do
peeling up.
more
So
for
what
your
I do in my
community,
glass jar is
for
clean
your
it really
people.
well,
There's
and
somebody out there
then
that's worse
I give
off
it
than
a
you are.
light coat
There's
of
somebody
spray
out
paint.
there that's
If
not
you
as
can get a
blessed
spray
as
paint
you
that
are.
has a little bit of
So
primer in
therefore,
it
you
too,
gotta
like a
open your
cayenne
heart,
primer spray paint,
open your mind,
that's
open
fantastic.
your house,
So I
open
have
your
taken this glass
windows,
jar
but most
outside
importantly,
and
open your
I
heart.
have given it
I don't know
a
who I'm
light
supposed to be
coat
sounding
of
like,
black spray
but
paint
that's that.
and let it
Alright,
completely
less than a
dry.
minute.
And
Oh,
now
there we
I'm
go.
going to put my chalk paint
2 hour
on
mark.
top of
Eyes are
it.
going
So
bye-bye.
that's
It's
the
23
main
people,
step that
you
you want
guys
to do
here.
if you want
Beautiful
your
young
paint to stay
ladies
on your glass. So
and
I've got some
gents
black chalk
and
paint that
ooh,
I
24 people.
just put in a
Ooh,
little container here.
24. They're
And I
24/7 right
like,
now.
for this technique anyways, because it's going to be kind of primitive. What we're aiming for, if you're just joining, we're making
Eyes
a jar like this.
open
It's got that really
24/7 right
textured
now.
appearance and putting on a graphic kind of primitive style.
Eyes are
So
open
I like to
24/7.
sponge my
I done
paint
lost
on.
2 years. I'm back to 22.
It just gives it, you can
Every
see,
time
it
I
kind of
get
gives
to
it that
singing,
extra little
but it's
texture
okay. I
and
get really excited. I don't know what
graininess.
else to do.
And
But
you
get to talking
can
and yapping again.
also, with this project, paint right up to the rim
Yes,
if you
I
want
not
to
lonely
use
soul.
your
I have
jar
somebody that
afterwards.
loves
You
me.
don't want
I
to
ain't
have a
on
bunch
no
of paint
dope.
up
I
here
ain't on
because
no
when you're taking the
cocaine.
lid off,
I don't do no
it's
drugs.
just going to peel
I
off.
don't do
So
none of that
I'm
stuff.
going to leave my
I just
top of my
mix the
jar
scotch for hope for
just
New
clear
York.
glass and then paint the rest. So I just like dabbing up and down
Oh, yes.
and
So you see there?
giving
Look
it
at
a
that.
really
Look at
nice
that
coat. And
beauty
like I said
there.
before, if you put that spray
Transitions.
paint
The
primer underneath this,
transitions,
it's
guys.
not going anywhere. It's not budging. You will get the best results
I'm sorry, I
painting
don't mean to
glass
sound
with
like a horny
chalk
horny
paint. It
turtle,
works
but
okay with acrylic paint, but it's not that
the
great. It will still
colors.
kind of peel and
It's
chip
the
off.
colors.
And latex paint will just peel right off. So you need to take your latex paint
Oh, wowzies.
mix it into
The
some chalk paint,
colors.
and then
These
you're going to have
colors.
small glass jars that are painted. So that's how I like to paint my glass jars.
Oh
This
my
has got one
gosh,
coat.
gosh.
We'll set
Oh
this
my
aside.
gosh,
I'll
gosh.
let it dry, and then I'll put a second coat on. So I have a jar that's all finished.
Oopsie
So I'll just show
daisies.
you. So this is my jar all finished with 2 coats. And you can see
Oh my
it's just kind of got a little bit of a
God.
stipple effect to it
No,
from
she
that
didn't.
second
No,
coat of chalk paint. Okay, so what we're ready to do next is
Where
put our
Where are you,
graphic
Nene?
on. This is the
Where?
graphic that I'm going to use.
Where
I
are you,
designed
Nene?
this graphic. It is available in my Etsy store. If none of you have ever headed
Don't
over to
hate.
my Etsy store, it's
Congratulate.
right full
Don't hate.
of
Congratulate.
downloadable
What you
printable
doing?
graphics.
What you doing? She think that
You
gonna
can
stop?
purchase
That ain't
them in
gonna
my
help
Etsy
her.
store, and if
That
you're a
gonna
member of
help
my
her.
channel, when you join my channel, you're going to get a
Eyes
50%
are
off
finna to be a
discount code.
haters.
So if you think you're going to be
To the
using a lot
day
of
she
these,
dies us.
sign up, and I think
Well,
it's
eyes
$1.99,
first.
and you'll get the discount code, and you can use it as many
Oh,
times as you
ooly
want,
gooly
or
gosh
as many
gosh.
graphics as you want, and you can save a little bit
Wowsies.
of money. I have coffee stained
Oh,
pieces of paper.
wowsies.
I just actually do a quick coffee stain. I have some instant coffee and warm water in a little squirt bottle right here, and I just squirt my paper and then dry it with my heat gun, And I can, when I'm squirting it,
It takes 24 hours to mind your damn business. That's what I says. I don't share my opinion with many people. Why? Because my opinion don't really matter. But for some reason out there, there's always somebody out there that thinks that their opinion is somehow more valuable than the next man's. And that's just not the way life works. I'm so sorry. Please step down from your ego trip.
So you need to seal it up.
You're just not that important, lady. You beast. You boy. Don't be a hater, be a congratulator. Thank you so much for number 8. Thank you so much for the 8 o'clock. I really like that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Whoever gave me the 8 o'clock. I was spending to change the colors now. What colors would you like?
I want to cut this down to size to fit my jar. I just have a
any colors you like in particular, you can don't tell me. You can leave me a comment. You can share your comment. Look at these. Look at these. Yeah, I used to have the tater. I used to work at the deli. Grown ass man. But it's okay, because sometimes you gotta take life not so seriously.
Lots of things. Okay, we're just gonna
and when he used to act like he was being turned on about something, he used to turn around and be like, you know, grown ass man, but it's okay to each their own. If that's what tickles his fancy, let him tickle his fancy. As long as he don't try to tickle my butthole, because he used to be funny. You see, I used to work the job, he used to be like, oh, ain't your name Glory? Like, a glory hole.
So I'm just going around the edges. And like I said, this primitive style is not for everybody. But you can take these techniques, put your own spin on it.
I was sitting here just leaping the life away.
Give it your own style.
Thank you so much for all my 8 likes. Thank you so much for you 24 watchers right now. That's one for every hour in the day. I really appreciate it. Hey, what happened? He just lit. He went on down to 8 to 15. What happened then? Alright, fine. I think it's about time the eyes goes anyways. I think I overstayed my welcome.
So now we're ready to put it on our jar. Okay, we're going to put some Mod Podge on the back of this.
You gotta stay great and just ignore the hate.
And like
stay
I said,
great,
if you only have
ignore the hate.
Stay
great, ignore the hate.
Do that extra
stay
step
great,
of putting a little bit of hairspray on your
stay
graphic
great,
before you
ignore
do
the hate.
these steps so you
stay
can
great,
prevent your
ignore
ink
the
from
hate.
running. If you are crafting a lot,
Ignore
I
the
would
hate.
recommend
Stay great,
a laser
ignore
jet
the hate.
printer. They have actually
great,
come
ignore
down
the hate.
in price a lot
Ignore the hate.
in the last couple of years. So
Ignore
I've
the hate.
actually seen them around the same price
Stay
as
great,
ink jet
ignore the
printers.
hate.
So price them
Stay
out.
great,
Look at
ignore
that.
the hate.
Oh, I
Stay
love
great,
these. I just
ignore
love the
the
way
hate.
the
Stay
primitive
great,
feel
ignore
that they
the hate.
have.
Stay
And what
great,
we're going to do
ignore the
now,
hate.
I think we're going to add a little bit of yellow to that bead. And we can paint on top of that. Just going to give it a little pop of color. So I've just got some yellow acrylic paint and just a little
hello, baby, hello.
And I almost want to
I haven't seen you in a long, long while.
just to give it a little pop of color. When I'm doing this, and then just kind of dab my finger in it so it looks like it blends in a bit. Go down here.
Oh, baby. Oh, Stitch.
Yeah, I like this. I like
You're
this
so
one.
cool. I'm gonna love you just like I should.
Patches on the bead.
Stitch.
It's a nice way of adding a little bit of color to your signs or your projects.
I've not gone mad.
Put your acrylic paint on top.
I've not gone
because when you're all
mad.
finished, you're going to seal it all up anyway, so it's going to stay in there. Okay, now comes the messy part to get this texture. This is like a primitive, grungy texture. We're going to get our paper back. And Mod Podge.
28.
Okay, so I am putting
Hello.
Mod Podge right up.
Back to 19. I
that
don't know what
label.
happened. Every time I sing, everybody go.
You don't want it too thick, but
oh, you guys hurt my
a good
feelings.
coat on here up to the rim. Like I said, I'm going to put the lid on this one. So this one is probably going to have the lid stay on permanently because I painted right up to the
You know,
top.
like Gouda. Gouda cheese is very good for you.
And just putting a light coat of Mod Podge over that.
And you know what the haters say? Really? Really? Oh, they ain't gonna help you. So, okay. Okay.
So this is from my garden earlier in the fall. I saved it and brought it in here. So it's kind of a mixture of dirt, sand, whatever was
what's your
in my garden
name?
that works. And I'm just putting it right into that Mod Podge. Just sprinkling it on. You can see.
Hula,
See what I mean?
hula,
It's
hula,
messy,
hula,
but
hula, hula,
it's so worth it.
hula, hula,
And you
hula,
kind
hula,
of,
hula,
you kind of got to work fast because you want that dirt to stick into your Mod Podge. Sprinkle it all on. Oh, I got a twig here.
Oh my God! Look at these colors. It's the colors.
So you can see
They
how
gonna
this
help
transforms
you.
it
They gonna help you.
away
I've been
into
to be a
something
bully
really
all
pretty.
day to
I'm
the
gonna take
day
my
you
beacon,
die.
high low, get this dry.
And who will say that? Who will say that? I tell you who will say that it'd be a blood clot crackhead.
With cinnamon. And
It'd be a blood clot crackhead. What happened was, what happened? They no finish. They upset. They upset with their life. But you didn't make them ugly. They were just born that way. You didn't make them ugly. God made them, but they have a problem with you because they have a problem with you. Like you made them ugly. You didn't make them ugly. You didn't make them ugly. You don't have no problem with them. They make shit up. They make shit up and then they turn around and they'll be like, oh, look at these. Now, if you don't have a sense of humor and you take it to heart and you develop a very, very bad, weak heart because you're so worried about what the next man or bitch is thinking about you. So what happens? You lose your time. You lose your energy. The energy. The vampires are vampire energy. So you don't listen to hate. They were like, oh, oh, oh. Let them. Oh, oh, oh.
I just feel like killing somebody today.
And I'm going to sponge it on. Just dipping in
Ooh.
that.
You don't know who she messing with. You don't know who she messing with.
I like to sponge it on. It gives that texture. It gives that kind of.
What that is? That's the bird dog.
And then
Is he a bird?
sealing in that dirt.
See, I don't hate. I don't care what you do. You could do it great, or you might not do it great. As long as you ain't hurting nobody, right? You ain't hurting nobody, you just mind your own business. Who cares, right? But nah, you always gonna find that person who that they think they is. Oh no, 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 she thinks she too good for her. She thinks she too good. What? No, 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 no. You got the wrong one here, baby. I done worked my whole life, baby. And now I'm no street corner. I ain't never sell no drugs. I ain't never sell no ass. For somebody to be acting like they have a right to disrespect somebody because they think they know something about somebody. But I tells you, like I tell them, and I tells you live. I tells you live all the time. If some haters ain't got nothing else to say, just ignore them. Ignore them. Look at these. So what they trying to do? They're trying to make your heart weak. They're trying to make you think about them all day. But look at these. How could you do greatness if you're worried about the petty bitches? You don't worry about petty bitches or petty petty people. What you do is you grow past them. You continue to do the best you can. Oh, look, I tell you what, I must go. My battery is very, very low. Thank you so much for watching.
Exactly. And I don't know
subscribe.
if you guys have
Please
ever priced
give it
that
another
spray-on
thumbs
stove.
up.
It is
Up.
expensive,
Up.
really expensive. So you can get really
Peace.
good texture, and I think this looks nicer actually. And with just this technique, this is still a little bit damp, but you get the picture. You can see